and get ready to save more. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Swung on, line towards left center field, long run. Merrill, he won't get it. It's a base hit. It goes to the wall. Harper is in to score, and JT Realmuto delivers the 2-out RBI double, and the Phillies have a 2-1 lead. Swinging a line drive left center field. Marsh on the run, and the gap is there. He's got it. And Matt Strom gets the save as the Padres put 2 on in the ninth, but do not score, and the Phillies will head to the break in first place in the National League East after a 2-1 win here over San Diego.
Oh, courtesy of the fine folks over at the Philadelphia Phillies Radio Network. Scott Bransky on the call, and you heard him. That's right, the Phillies. They avoided the sweep in both West Coast series, in the getaway games, if you will, versus the Giants and the Padres. And now they head into a much-deserved break, sitting atop the standings for now. One thing we learned yesterday during the broadcast, the Mets, I did at least, the Mets and Phillies have exchanged first place 10 times, now 10 times, the NL East throughout the course of 60 games so far. That's pretty damn cool. Or excuse me, a little bit more than 60. Yeah, we're 60% into the season, halfway through, if you will. But bottom line is this. We have a lot to discuss, a lot to look back on, and we got ourselves a nice little hiatus filled with the home run derby and some other odds and ends. Football season inching closer. I dialed it up this past weekend while I was down at the beach as much as possible with the great Phil Steele magazine, just reading up on all the conferences, trying to find those hidden gems, the value plays, the quarterbacks. They're going to be coming out of nowhere. A lot to discuss this week. We're going to be tackling it all. I promise you that. Sam Oshtry is going to join us at 4 o'clock. We'll talk about Cooper Flagg, the big story from the weekend. A tweet from Keith Pompey, the first thing I read this morning that got my blood absolutely boiling from the 76ers, and hopefully Sam is going to pour some cold water on that and calm me down. But Luke Arcaini right from the jump here on a Monday, and of course, Luke, a lot to discuss with the Phillies. Hopefully you had a great weekend, but man, you heard it. Great way to end that 3-game series. My heart was pumping. I did not think they were coming away with that victory yesterday in game 3. And of course, you know, the leadoff hitter gets on through a match-round walk, if I'm not mistaken. He was able to get out of it, but I just had I didn't have good vibes, let's put it that way, that they were going to win that game. So here we are, off into the All-Star break. Cooler heads are prevailing. I mean, my goodness, they're second in National League batting average, second in the NL and OBP, fifth in slugging, third team in ERA. Life is good for the Phillies, right? We should feel good right now, correct?
Absolutely. Everybody should absolutely feel good about the Phillies right now. They're 14 games over 500. They have a lead in the NL East. And, you know, after a first half of no Bryce Harper for a month, no Aaron Nola for 2 months, losing your best reliever for basically the entire season, your 2 biggest offseason acquisitions being bad, really, really bad. They still walk away with a pretty good first half. Like, there's obviously they have their things that they need to work on. And they need to get better at, and they need to improve. But, you know, 14 games over 500, when you have dealt with some injuries and you've dealt with some guys that have gone 0 for a month, and you have a bad bullpen, and, you know, they're still 14 games over 500. They're still leading the division. And it seems like this team is going to get a lot better here in a few weeks.
Do agree with you on that one. Yeah, look, we'll find out what's going to take place July 31st, inching closer here as we're sitting July 14th, of course, the trade deadline. A lot of those names, one thing that I've come to know over the years is that, like, if you have a name and if you have somebody that you potentially want a team to trade for, and you throw that name out there, they could be Mickey Mantle reincarnated. And no, there's going to be plenty of people. Oh, he stinks. So you got a couple guys. Yeah, Bucks is playing well right now. A couple players out there that we have been discussing in the last few weeks as far as to keep our eyes on. Garcia had 2 home runs, I want to say, over the weekend. There's some players that are doing some things right now that we've all been discussing as potential targets for All-Star break or for the trade deadline. The only thing that, and we're a little all over the place on a Monday to get this party started, it's all right. The only thing that was hitting me a little bit more over the weekend as I was looking at some of those potential targets and the teams that they're playing for. Luke, there's a lot of teams that are still in this. Yep. There's a lot of teams that are in this wild card hunt right now. So you look at the Rangers. Would the Rangers really want to move a player that's helped them win a World Series, that's helped them, with the power, as I said, has come on strong? The Twins are a little bit different. They're down in the standings, but still the Central is up for grabs, if I'm not mistaken. So where are you at right when that conversation comes up? Because July 31st, right around the corner, a lot of teams are going to have difficult decisions to be made here.
Yeah, so we are about, 4 days away from, I always say, I think the 10 games from the All-Star break to the trade deadline are the most important games for everyone's season. Because, it's a team like the Cleveland Guardians who sit at 46-49 on the year. They're 12 games out of the division, right? It doesn't look great. But they could come out of the All-Star break. They could win 9 in a row. And all of a sudden, they're 6 games over 500, and they're in second place in that division, right? You have a team going down here sort of like the St. Louis Cardinals, right? They're 5 games over 500. They're 6.5 games out of the NL Central. They could come out of the break. They could lose 10 games in a row. And all of a sudden, they're 5 games under 500. They're 11 games out of the Central. Like, this is a time now where you really have to hope that the teams that the players you want play for lose a lot of their next games up until the trade deadline, especially those fringe teams. Like I said, the Guardians, the Twins, the Cardinals, even a team like, the San Francisco Giants, who they won't sell, but like that's a team that if they win, 8 out of their next 10 before the deadline, it could go a lot heavier than they would have if they lose, 7 out of their next 9. So these next games are important. But like you said, there's a ton of fringe teams right now. And it's funny because, the biggest rumors that the Phillies have been linked to so far are 2 of the biggest fringe teams in the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Guardians.
Guardians is definitely one that popped up out over the weekend, a little bit more smoke and fire. Let's just put it that way. Your thoughts on anything that is happening there? Would you put a little bit more stock in the rumors with the Guardians than anything?
Yeah. I think so. I think the whole big report from Matt Gelb about the Phillies really eyeing up the AL Central. I think there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of good relievers in the AL Central. There's a lot of good bats in the AL Central, specifically on those 2 teams. And I don't think, listen, I think this is going to be Dave Dombrowski's biggest deadline yet. Granted, that bar is not that high. So it might not be some huge monster, get 5 different stars in here kind of few days there at the end of July. But if Emmanuel Clase is on the table, Dave Dombrowski is going to check in. If Johan Duran's on the table, I believe Dave Dombrowski is going to check in. If the price for Byron Buxton isn't insane, I think he's going to check in. Like, there's a lot of teams in that AL Central, specifically the Twins and the Guardians. That was really a big report there. It seems like a lot of those guys could be on the table. I do know the Phillies have sent some scouts, like he said, out to really watch those specific teams. Griffin Jackson, another guy on the Twins that they've been interested in. They're going to get bullpen help. They know they need it. I know the Phillies have picked 10 players so far in this draft. 9 of them have been pitchers. 8 of them have been from college. They've picked just one position player so far. They haven't made a first round selection of a pitcher from college since Aaron Nola. And all of a sudden, 8 of their 10 first picks in this draft have been college pitchers. So it almost seems like a bit. I've just been completely shocked every time I get a new update. It's just the Phillies have selected another college pitcher. No, 99% of those guys aren't going to be on this team, this year. But listen, there's not 100% rule out that they're not going to try and maybe elevate the Gage Wood thing. Obviously, their first round selection yesterday. But we'll get into that more.
We'll talk a little bit more about the draft a little bit later, because that's definitely a name that's hot in the timeline right now. But to your point, I was doing radio when Aaron Nola was drafted, and Ruben Amaro specifically went down there and targeted him because it was a guy that you thought would be able to come up to the ranks pretty quickly, and he did exactly that. He was a workhorse with LSU, and he's been exactly that with the Phillies. We'll talk a little bit more about the second half. We'll talk about Aaron Nola as well. Got to get a painter update from Luke Arcaini, a lot to discuss. But again, this team right here, right now, I think it's important for us to almost, show some love, right? Like this team, 14 games above 500, first place, went through a little bit of a lull, maybe 2 lulls throughout the course of the whole first half. One that was serious at the end of April, and then from that point on, they hit the gas pedal and figured things out. We're going to show some love and throw some flowers at some players' directions. But again, 2-4 on the West Coast swing, break coming at the right time. They had a 13-0 blowout in the final game against San Francisco, which everybody enjoyed watching. We all did that. And then you saw yesterday, like this team can go ahead and grind with the best of them in a 2-1 ball game, I think was the final score. So, we have our wish list. The Dodgers are the Dodgers, and they're leaking oil. That's a team that has been struggling right now as of late, and they went through a lull last year as well.
Everyone goes through lulls.
Everyone does.
162 game season. It was the first time the Dodgers lost 7 in a row in 10 years.
Wow.
And they're supposed to be one of the best teams ever, I was told.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through lulls. It's a long season. I couldn't even count on one hand how many times I said on this show in April and May and June. It's a long season. Very, very, very long season. It is crazy that we're already 90-something games into this season. It's
correct.
It's absolutely bizarre. But yeah, no, I mean, you got to give them their flowers, man. And I understand the Max Kepler situation is frustrating. I understand the Romash situation is frustrating. I understand the bullpen is frustrating. I understand this offense is frustrating, but I just named a lot of different things that are extremely frustrating. And it feels like they've been going on all season, and they're 14 games over 500 at the All-Star break with the lead in the division. They're still playing good baseball. And yes, I know the losses. Like this West Coast trip was not great. That ending in San Francisco was one of the wildest endings I've ever seen to a baseball game. But it's a good baseball team. This is a team that can win a World Series. Obviously, they need to add at the deadline. But this is a team that has the bones and has the, foundation so far to eventually go on and compete in the postseason and hopefully win a World Series.
Win the division right now. DraftKings -135, Mets +105. We'll talk about some of those other divisions potentially up for grabs. We will also get into a little bit of the little home run derby action.
Oh man, the home run derby has never been the same since we lost the back.
And the issue is it's those youngins. That was the issue. They listened to all those youngins, Luke. All those Gen Zers, they were like,
those youngins are the worst.
And then now what?
Those youngins are the worst.
With that being said, some similar. I know we had a little bit of a situation with Christopher Sanchez getting the short end of the stick as far as the All-Star game is concerned. And I'm bringing it up because there were some funny comments, specifically Castellanos saying, what is this, the Savannah Bananas? I thought it was good. I'm going to play the other side, though, Luke. I'm going to play the other side. It is an exhibition game. Why should we care? Why should it, okay, he got his money. The Phillies made him right, paid his money. Why should we care? Why is this a big deal? because at the end of the day, it's about entertainment. They tried to make the All-Star game a bigger deal. They tried to. Bud Selig got ridiculed for it and potentially most likely deserved it, right? I kind of dug it. I was on the outside looking in as far as home field being decided because of an All-Star game, but I liked it. You gave me something to tune into.
But that's why it mattered. It mattered.
Exactly.
It mattered back then. Now it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Now it doesn't matter. All right, so now what you're doing is you're giving me a television show, and you got this kid out of Milwaukee who's got who just absolutely tears it up with a heater. All right, he's well above the league average with MPHs on his fastball. Yeah, that's the guy I want to see in there. Let's get everyone that pops the mid at 101, 102, make them a part of this All-Star game. That's more of a reason for us to watch, with all love and respect to a guy like Christopher Sanchez, who's been incredible. But if I'm talking about a reason to tune in, and not here in Philadelphia, not our guys, but to some other average Joe out there that, you know what, I'm trying to fire up the MLB All-Star game somewhat. Well, now we got this flamethrower who just came up, has pitched in 5 starts, and yeah, we're sending him to Atlanta for the All-Star game. There's at least something there, right? Like, we can't have it both ways. Either it's an exhibition, who cares, or we need to go back and make this game actually mean something.
So here's where I will take that other side. If you turn on the All-Star game, you don't need to always watch the players that deserve it the most. You want to watch the most electric players.
Yes.
But if that's how you're going to decide, if you're going to put a guy like Mizorowski in, who has thrown 5 starts ever in his Major League Baseball career, Zach Wheeler has more career complete games than Jacob Mizorowski has career starts. You need to take away the either bonuses or the contract stipulations. Christopher Sanchez can't have a contract stipulation for him to make the All-Star game and then get absolutely screwed and not get in the game, because then he loses out on money. And that guy has earned his money. And luckily, the Phillies are a class act organization, and they still gave him his bonus that he would have made. The other side to this is, if you're going to treat the All-Star game like this, All-Star appearances cannot have an effect when you eventually try to get into the Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying Christopher Sanchez is ever going to be a Hall of Famer, right? But if he throws 14 seasons with an ERA under 3.5, right? Under 4, and he makes the All-Star game twice, people use, and it's not the end-all be-all, but people take All-Stars into account when they're looking at these Hall of Fame guys, right?
You're right.
If you have a guy with similar stats for another guy, and you know, they have the same fame, I guess that would be the word, and one of them has 14 All-Stars and the other one has 2, guess who the guy's voting for? He's voting for the guy that has 14 All-Stars and not 2. They need to take away any sort of meaning in the long run for it. Listen, I want to watch the most electric players in the league on Tuesday night. I completely understand that. Excited to watch Mizorowski pitch. I've watched every single one of his starts so far, and it's awesome, right? But this can't have a financial impact on the players. And yes, Christopher Sanchez is fine with money. I understand that. He's not scraping the bottom of the barrel for money right now. But this guy, part of his contract that he signed, one of the biggest steals in baseball, his contract, it's an absolute steal. One of his stipulations is, if he makes the All-Star game, he gets a bonus from the Phillies. He deserves to be in the All-Star game, and he's not.
Well said, Luke Arcaini. That was a great answer across the board. I tip my cap to you, sir.
Thank you.
If we're giving flowers out to the Phillies, you've been doing a great job covering the Phillies and MLB for us here on The Gambler all season long. I give you flowers. I lay the love down for you, sir. Also, cousin Nikki checking in. Brace is back again. You're damn right. Feels good. I would, yeah, nice. And you want to talk about a man who lit it up in the first half of Major League Baseball coverage? This guy, Colby Marcio. Yeah, man, I see he's all over the freaking place. Every single radio outlet, I'm going to turn on Baseball Tonight, and Colby Marcio is going to be on my television screen screaming about some sort of. It'll probably be a Cal Raleigh home run. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be exactly this. I'm going to turn on ESPN, and here's going to be Colby Marcio yelling at my television screen. Because the big dumper went yard yet again. We will talk about Cal Raleigh coming up in just a second because there is a lot.
Goodbye!
A lot to talk about with Mr. Raleigh and the first half. But back over. Oh, he wants to know who I have winning the home run derby. Well, Colby, that's what we call a tease, sir. I will give you my all-star or my home run derby pick. And I want to give a shout out to Jared Smith, who has an unbelievable breakdown. I retweeted it. I'm talking about if you are going to wager on tonight's home run derby, you must read his thread. It is the breakdown of all breakdowns with the guys that are throwing the pitches to him. Who it is. It could be a translator. There's somebody that's a translator. That's the pitcher tonight throwing the ball to the hitter. You got guys that are normal BP pitchers. Look, if you're going to wager on it, trust me, this is well worth your time. We'll read through it a little bit later in this hour. But Luke, staying with the Phillies, one player, if you would, from the first half that has the Phillies currently in first place, that has the Phillies 14 games above 500, that you got to feel pretty damn good about the way things have resulted so far here throughout the course of this season. One player that you want to shine the light on, if I may. Who is it?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a guy in the bullpen in Tanner Banks. Not the flashiest name. Not, some big star. He's not an all-star. He's a guy that was traded from the worst team in the history of baseball last year at the trade deadline and was supposed to be a mop-up guy for the Phillies. And after Jose Alvarado went down with the suspension, he's turned into arguably the most trustworthy lefty they have in the bullpen this season. I think Matt Strom's been up and down. I'm still not out on Matt Strom at all. I think he's fine. But there was going through a stretch where it felt like every time Matt Strom came into a game, I mean, even yesterday, that last game in San Diego, it gets a little iffy. It gets a little iffy in there. He makes you hold your breath for a minute. Tanner Banks has been a major light for them this year, because this bullpen would be in shambles if they didn't have if Matt Strom was their only lefty in their bullpen out after Jose Alvarado went down. It would be even worse than it already is. So that was mine for the bullpen. I did have one more as well. I'm going to give Brandon Marsh some flowers as well, because Brandon Marsh started off the season, I believe, 0 for 34. Got sent down to AAA. He had the injury. I still think it was, a little bit of half he was kind of hurt, half he needed a reset. And he's just kind of been really, really good since he's come back from that assignment. Last 30 days, he's hitting over 280. Brandon Marsh on the season, he hit 324 in June. He hit 298 in May, and he's hitting 267 right now in July through 30 at bats. But that guy had a batting average at one point this season. I got to go back and find it really quick. At one point this season, Matt Strom, before he went on the IL, Brandon Marsh, apologies, had a 387 OPS. It was the worst OPS in all of baseball before.
Give us the average. What's an average OPS?
Around the high sixes, probably early sevens. He had an OPS plus around, I believe it was 25. League average is 100. That is the average OPS plus is 100. He was around 25. It was a brutal start, and this could have gone really, really bad for him.
Yes.
I think this is a situation where they could have sent him down and had him ride it out in the minors for a while. And he came back up and he just tore it up. So I want to give some flowers to Brandon Marsh as well, because I think in a season where the Phillies have really struggled in their outfield, like last season and the season before, he's been a guy that has really been a spark, and he's set really nice into that 9-hole. Even on days where they have guys like Rojas and Marchand in the lineup, they've kept Marsh in that 9-hole because he's really getting comfortable as almost that like second leadoff hitter. So I wanted to give him his flowers as well.
I like it. You're right. Going back to the beginning of the season, it was a
0 for
struggle.
34. I went back and checked. 0 for 34.
Him and Bohm too. Bohm was struggling. Bohm took the heater off of the ribs on Saturday night. Hopefully he's much better. And I'm sure that if you take a look around Fred's Tavern over the next couple of days, you might see him stumbling in there or around that corner, possibly with a beautiful girl next to him too. I'm just saying. That's what the word is. Anyways, Fred's still rocking. That's where I was all weekend. Great times. With that, I would like to take the reins and lay the love for JT Realmuto. And first of all, we know, talking about another player who's turned it around, struggling at the beginning of the season, last 30 games, 339 average, 10 RBI, 39 hits, really putting it together. If you missed yesterday's game,
Swung on, line towards left center field, long run. Merrill, he won't get it. It's a base hit. It goes to the wall. Harper is in to score, and JT Realmuto delivers the 2-out RBI double, and the Phillies have a 2-1 lead.
JT obviously comes through in the clutch yesterday, gets the job done. But we often talk about on this show, and I'm pretty sure every podcast that talks Phillies baseball, about how amazing this pitching staff is. The starters are unbelievable. They're able to get to the 7th inning. Ranger Suarez, death taxes, and a quality start. Oh my God, Zach Wheeler, the list goes on and on and on. Mick Abel comes up. He looks great. Yeah, there's one common denominator, and it's JT behind the plate. I get it. Pitchers are going to make the pitches, no doubt about it. But there's something about that familiarity that these guys have, knowing what they're going to get from JT behind the plate. And it was hitting me before he came through in the clutch. I think I was thinking about this on Saturday, just talking about, things we were going to get into. And I was like, you know what? Like, how important it is to have that backbone of the operation at that catching position. You look at the Mets, and Francisco Lindor really runs the show up there. No ifs, ands, buts about it. He is the guy. Like, it's a different vibe with the Phillies. JT is that dude. JT, I would imagine, polices that clubhouse. I think he is probably the big uncle, the big brother, whatever you want to say, that everybody looks at. And if I may, he has a Darren Dalton vibe, right? And I know Kruk has said that on the broadcast as well. And that's that old school catcher mentality. We're here, lunch pail. Let's do the dirty work. Let's get the job done, and let's get the victory and ride on. This pitching staff has been incredible. JT has been the starting catcher all season long. And as I said, has been coming around with his bat as of late. Came through in the clutch yesterday. If I'm giving flowers to somebody for the first half, it's JT Realmuto.
I love it. And I think one of my biggest things going into this offseason, obviously the big 3 free agents for the Phillies, Schwarber, Ranger, JT. Schwarber in my mind is a no doubt they are going to bring him back. Ranger, I don't know. It'd be really hard to watch that guy walk out of this clubhouse, just because how much he said he wants to pitch for the Phillies his entire career. And I haven't even got into his stats. But
let me pause you there for a second. Will it be harder to watch him walk out, or harder for the Phillies to re-sign him? Because I think it's really tough for the Phillies to be able to re-sign him.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very tough for the Phillies to re-sign him. But that third guy that everyone kind of forgets about this offseason is JT Realmuto. He's a free agent after this season. And, there's a lot more complaining, I would say, in Philadelphia about JT, and there is praise for JT. And I understand he's not the JT he was 5 years ago. Listen, there's nobody on this team that's as good as they were 5 years ago, other than Zach Wheeler and Kyle Schwarber. That's probably it. And then Ranger, Sanchez. That's probably the end of that list, period. JT Realmuto is a guy for me that I think the Phillies have to gauge that market. And I know a lot of people will say, well, obviously Schwarber's 1, Rangers 2, JT's 3. JT's got a really strong connection with this pitching staff, man. And if that's a guy that you can get to come back on a cheap contract and keep him in this building and not play him as much, if they can truly commit to going and getting a backup catcher this offseason and not necessarily running in, half and half split with the 2 catchers, but if JT is willing to take a little less money to come back to Philadelphia, mainly on like a 2-year deal, and almost sort of ride this out with Zach Wheeler, because obviously we know Wheeler only has this season, 2026 and 2027 left. He's said it multiple times. If they can find a way to get JT back in this clubhouse for next season, and you improve this lineup to where JT can hit 8th in a lineup like this, I think it's worth the money, man. Like, he's just too valuable for this pitching staff. And I'm happy that you're giving him his flowers, because even though, he's not the player he was 4 or 5 years ago, when they re-signed him after the huge re-sign JT campaign, he's still just extremely, extremely valuable to this baseball team.
Oh, yeah. Look, you don't see the hashtag, BCIB all that often these days. No doubt about it. I'm with you. But at the end of the day, he's still pretty damn good. And oh, by the way, the best catcher in baseball has about a bazillion home runs right now. So there's not much you can do about what Raleigh's doing.
No matter how JT was playing, JT could have 1,000 OPS this year. He's still not the best catcher in baseball. It's the big dumper.
Yeah, the big dumper's got control of that one. We're going to get into the big dumper. A couple more on the Phillies. Give credit to Drew Smith over at the Liberty Line. Clicked on his first half summary. And one thing that made me like, wait, really? Are the Phillies good on defense, Luke? 3rd fewest errors in the league?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They have their moments where it's like you almost hear
they are the most.
It's like, wait, what?
Let me tell you this. They're the most boneheaded defensive group sometimes, I would say. They make plays look like a little leaguer could make it sometimes. But they are an above average defensive team this year. And I mean, a lot of that has to do with Trey. He's played way better defense this year. The rise in Alec Boehm's defense this year has been incredible. Obviously we know what we have from Stott, Harper. Martian center has been bad. Martian left has been really good. Max Kepler plays a very good left field. And Nick Castellanos' stats in defensively don't always look bad, because to log negative stats, you actually have to be able to get to the ball. And he's not the best tracker in the league. But yeah, no, this is definitely an improvement defensively from where they've been in the past seasons.
All right, yeah, and last but not least, putting a bow on the Phillies here, first half, the other one that made me like, whoa, really pause, was the fewest IL days in the NL. That's interesting, because you think about some of the players that have been on the IL, and specifically Aaron Nola. Like, that's a running tally. It hasn't stopped. So fewest IL days in the National League. And
I'm surprised that's true, because the Dodgers have thrown like 13 pitchers on the IL this year. That's very surprising.
Yep. You just look at it from those are the types of deals that when they go your way, when the ball bounces your way, when you don't get bit by the injury bug. And I would even say, every team does. Have the Phillies been bit by the injury bug? Like, would I say yes to that? No, I guess not yet. Aaron Nola, you had Harper, obviously 2 big pieces there. But other than that, have they been bit by the injury bug? No, I guess I would say probably not. Even though, as I said, those are 2 big time names. With that being said, all right, let's keep it moving. Let's talk a little MLB as a whole here. And I want to get, I sent Luke a few questions, 3 questions regarding the first half from the standpoint of around Major League Baseball. So let me get the terminology correct right here. The first half storyline that caught you by surprise, Luke Arcaini. First half storyline, Major League Baseball, that caught you by surprise.
I'm going to give 2 American League teams their flowers here. The Detroit Tigers. I expected the Detroit Tigers to be good. I did not expect the Detroit Tigers to be the best team in baseball at the All-Star break. They are the best team in baseball. It is not the Dodgers. It is not the Phillies or the Mets. It is not the Yankees. It is not anybody else. It is the Detroit Tigers. They've played unbelievable baseball this year. Obviously, their lineup has just been awesome. They just have so many threats. And if you look at it, they don't have the highest run differential. It's at 87 right now. So, I believe it's third or fourth in the league. But they've just had so many cool storylines this year. Obviously, the resurgence of Javi Baez. He's now starting in the All-Star game after what looked like one of the worst contracts in a while in baseball. Riley Green's had a great year. Spencer Torkelson's had a great year. Gleyber Torres is starting in the All-Star game after leaving the Yankees. They've just had a ton of contributions. Skubal obviously leading the way in that rotation. The other American League team that just absolutely caught everybody by surprise this year is the Houston Astros. Nobody thought the Astros were going to win that division. They lost Kyle Tucker. Yordan Alvarez has been hurt for mainly the entire season. And they're somehow, I believe they have the second best record in the American League. They've just played fantastic baseball. I mean, we saw them when we went down to Houston. I think we know it wasn't pretty when we went down there. But they are 56-40, 16 games over 500. They're 33-19 at home. They have a 56 run differential in the positive. They've just gotten incredible contributions this year. Jeremy Pena's had an awesome year for them, hitting 322. Isaac Paredes obviously came back in that Kyle Tucker trade. Jose Altuve out in left field. It hasn't been great defensively, but he's still having a pretty good year at the plate. They've just been getting a ton of contributions this year for a team that I actually had them finishing third in that division. I had the Rangers winning that division this year. Just not a great year for the Rangers. But this Astros team is just, once you think maybe you finally killed the Astros, finally, you don't have to see them again. They're right back after losing Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman in the same offseason.
Yeah, I want to give Mark Henry Jr. his love. I don't know if he had him win the division or not, but I was pushing that thought to him on a show, and he's like, "No, man, I still think the Astros are going to be damn good."
I believe me and Mark were both on the Rangers. We both like the Rangers for that division. But
all right, for me, just again, storyline that caught me by surprise. I was trying to get cute with it with Shohei because the numbers, what he's been doing so far in this first half are, I think, the three players in the history of Major League Baseball have put up the numbers that he has, and yet it's real quiet. I know he's going to be MVP, understood. But then now adding with the pitching, stuff like that. So I'm going to skip that. Let's go to the teams. So the biggest storyline surprise for me, I'm going to go to the AL East, and it's just the fact that the Blue Jays are in first place at the break here. They won 10 straight, and this is a team that I have hoped that would turn it on. Young guns, some of these great old school players that I came up with, and this is their offspring, right? And they're balling up there, and it's, the potential galore. And, oh, by the way, in Toronto, something just, different about Canadian baseball, whatever. But at the end of the day, that division, and it's always the Yankees. It's always the Yankees of the Rays with a sprinkle of the Red Sox. So something new. And I know the Orioles were there. We're going to talk about the Orioles in just a second. But bottom line is it's something new, and they have come on strong in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Could it be a collapse? Anything is possible over the second half of the season. We'll see what happens. But yeah, the number one storyline that caught me by surprise, the Toronto Blue Jays on top of the AL East right now as we speak. All right, let's keep it moving here. First half player, let's big dumper off it here.
Come on, man.
Lay the love for the big dumper. You go first.
I mean, he was one shy of breaking the all-time baseball record held by Barry Bonds for most home runs before an All-Star break. I don't know how much more I have to say while being unbelievable behind the plate. And, he's having such a good season that a guy with a 1,200 OPS isn't a lock to win the MVP right now. It's unbelievable what he's doing as a catcher. He's hitting. He's not even hitting over 260. That's the funniest part. He's hitting 259. Granted, we only use batting average for our agenda. Everybody knows that, so that's fine. 1011 OPS, 634 slugging percentage, a 4.8 WAR at the All-Star break, 105 strikeouts, 38 home runs, 82 RBIs. Sean, he's on pace for 70 homers and 150 RBIs. It's just like we've never seen a season like this, especially from a catcher. It is unbelievable that guy goes out there, puts 9 innings on his knees for 162 games or however many games he's played, and he's still hitting like this. The catcher is not a hitting position anymore. If you go down and you look at the OPS of catchers, I think the next guy behind him is like 250 points lower. Like, it is bizarre what he is doing. I will say, once we do get on the Derby note, I have an unfortunate stat for any big dumper lovers tonight as far as the Derby, but we'll get there eventually.
If they're watching this show, they're big dumper lovers.
Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, come on down.
Now the stretch and the 2-2 on the way, swinging a well-hit ball deep to left field. And Grandma, get out the right bread and mustard. It is grand salami time.
What a call.
Cal Raleigh with his 3rd grand slam of the season puts this game away.
Yeah, that was on Friday night when they beat the Detroit Tigers, his 37th, and you just heard his 38th home run, 12-3 victory. He went hitless in the next 2 games. He's within 1 of Barry Bonds' all-time Major League record for homers before the All-Star break. I'm pretty sure Luke already said that. His 8th multi-homer game this season. And, folks, he is the catcher. That's the biggest part of this. He's the catcher. Man, you know how much work he has to do to compete on defense and then step out into the dish, and they know what's coming, yet he still continues to hit home runs. He hit 10 home runs in March and April, 12 in May, 11 in June, 5 in July, leads the league 38 and 82. His previous career highs, 34 home runs and 100 RBIs, both were set last year, and if you're keeping count at home, he's outpacing those numbers. His batting average 259, 27 points higher than his previous high. On base 376, 64 points higher. Slugging. This dude's doing it all. It's the big dumper. But he's not going to win tonight, though.
No, he's not. Really quick on the big dumper note, he was actually just named the starting catcher for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic next year.
How about that?
Just announced 1 minute ago. So
nice.
Shout out to the big dumper. Would you like me to get to the unfortunate big dumper stat, or do you want to wait till after?
We're going to wait because we're going to give our picks at the end here.
Love
All right, finally, most disappointing team. I'll go first. Hear me out. It's real easy to say the Orioles. It's real easy to say the Rangers. You have one that did get my interest up a little bit earlier when you sent that, and I'm not saying that you're wrong on the Orioles because I'm right there with you. You know, I'm sick of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm just sick of that attitude, you know, the woe is me and we're not going to spend money. Dude, you got an unbelievable ballpark. Pittsburgh fans are loyal. You got great fan base there. I know it goes hand in hand. I get it. But let's not, bury the lead here. You got one of the most explosive pitchers we've ever seen take the field. Paul Skeens is just a monster out there. And what he continues to do every 5th day when he gets the ball is shut down the opponent, and he gets 0 run support. The Pirates have averaged over 3.35 runs in his 14 starts. There was even a game where the Pirates scored 3 runs or fewer for 3 straight starts for Paul Skeens. You want to talk about what he's doing right now? You just brought up ERA plus. He's got a 2.13 ERA plus.
And average is 100, by the way.
Correct.
Yep.
And now we're talking about well, what can they get if we trade him? The Dodgers, can they load up? Like, no, that can't be part of the conversation when he's only got 40 starts in a Pittsburgh Pirates uniform. Do something about it. Make it work. And damn it, O'Neal Cruz has been a disappointment. Who's going to win tonight, but he's been a major disappointment for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm just sick of it, man. Do something. It wasn't that long ago that Three Rivers Stadium was a place that you went and you lost with Andy Van Slyke patrolling center field, Don Slott, Doug Drabeck. The list goes on. Jim Leland smoking some heaters in the dugout. Can the Pirates return to glory, please? Come on. They're
Probably
disappointing, and they're the most disappointing team in first half for me in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of go with two, just really quick, the Orioles. I mean, I'm just start to get annoyed now talking about the Orioles, so I don't really even want to talk about them for that long. It's just been extremely disappointing. Their pitching staff is horrible. Their lineup's been underachieving. They have one guy who's really been hitting great this year, and he's going to be traded in 14 days, and that's Ryan O'Hearn. Just been an unbelievably disappointing team. Really, really, really just bad baseball. But my big one was the Arizona Diamondbacks. I thought the Diamondbacks, I said multiple times on this show, I thought the Diamondbacks could give the Dodgers a run for their money in that NL West. I didn't think they were going to win it. Obviously, the Dodgers are probably going to win that division. But if there's one team I thought in that division that could hang with the Dodgers, other than the Padres as well, I think we all know the Padres just always play, above 500 baseball, was the Arizona Diamondbacks. And they've just been a disappointment. They're 47-50. They're 11 games out of the division. They're under 500 at home. They have a +5 run differential. And they've just been a disappointment. As far as ERA, let's go down their starters really quick.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns only got to throw 64 innings. He's obviously out now. He was pitching well before he went out. Merrill Kelly is a 3.3. He's been pretty good. Ryan Nelson has been a disappointment. Brandon Pfaadt has been an unbelievable disappointment. 5.16 ERA. Zach Gallen has a 5.40 ERA for them. Eduardo Rodriguez had a 5.94 before he went out. It's just been a disappointment. Their bullpen has been bad. And that's just been a team that hasn't been able to hang. They haven't got the power. They've only really had, hitting aspect from it. It's really from Ketel Marte, Eugenio Suarez, and Corbin Carroll. They've got pretty good seasons from Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor. Geraldo Perdomo had a better first half than he did a second half. It's just not good. They're just not playing good baseball. That's a team that seems like it's going to sell. A lot of people think Zach Gallen could be on the move. Probably the best power bat available seems to be Eugenio Suarez. They're not trading Ketel Marte. They're not trading Corbin Carroll, obviously. But it did I believe I saw a report where they are looking to potentially maybe move one of their outfielders, whether that's Randall Grichuk, who they signed in the offseason, Lourdes Gurriel, Alec Thomas, one of those guys. But just been a disappointing season from the Diamondbacks all around. I thought they were going to have a way better record by now, and it's just been a big disappointment.
All right, Luke Arcaini right there. All things Major League Baseball and Phillies. You can find him over at Crossing Broad, and make sure you're checking out everything he has on socials. Finally, let's go ahead and hit this if we can, because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Home Run Derby making its return this evening down in Atlanta. And I got to give a huge shout out to Jared Smith, who went into a monster breakdown last night where he analyzed the field, specifically talking about who will be the pitcher for the selected hitter in the Home Run Derby. And yes, it's pretty damn important. Jared's all over it. He says the rules allow just 40 pitches or 3 minutes in the first round and 27 pitches or 2 minutes in the semis and the final. So the quality of pitches seen is a vital element to success. He analyzes the field like nobody else. O'Neal Cruz, he goes into it. It's a Pirates assistant coach and translator. Also throws pregame batting practice. Pirates manager Don Kelly quoted, He's our best BP guy, and I know he's going to groove it in there for him. Close quote. Bottom line is O'Neal Cruz, who has been a major disappointment, who could very well have the skills to be a MVP candidate, hits the ball like a rocket. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a StatCast, since they've been taking the score of that in the last 5-6 years, he's got 2 of the hardest hit balls ever recorded, both home runs, of course, there. So I'm rolling with my guy O'Neal Cruz. It just feels like this would be, you get his boys over there. I don't know what country he represents, but they're all going to be there in the towels because they support their own, right? Everybody does. You remember Alec Boehm was in it with Bryce Harper was in there with the water. Everybody's supporting their guys. So I like O'Neal Cruz. Give me O'Neal Cruz tonight, plus 340. And Jared Smith, once again, before you hit send on your wagers, just read his breakdown. He does a great job. He has a couple players that he likes versus other players that he's going to stay away from. DraftKings, a ton to choose from, so check that out. O'Neal Cruz, plus 340. Let's go. Where is O'Neal Cruz from? Do you know?
I can look it up. Let's see. O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz was born in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, so the DR. So whoever is representing the DR going to be helping him out. O'Neal Cruz with the towel, the Gatorade, the breaks. I love it, man. I love the home run derby. I always have, always will. I'll even take you back further. There used to be a old school home run derby. I'm talking with the greats like Mickey Mantle versus like Joe DiMaggio, or I'm talking, and it was black and white, and you would just watch it, and it was so dry, but they would go out there and it was like the one camera angle. I used to watch the hell out of that home run derby. Great throwback there. Good memory, if I may. But bottom line is, it's a lot of fun. Let's go tonight. Who you got, Luke?
I am going to roll with a guy who was originally not even supposed to be in the game or in the competition. In front of the home crowd, hitting out to right field, into the right field stands. Give me Matt Olson plus 800. He's the only guy in the Derby that has done it before. He's the only one with experience. I like Matt Olson tonight, plus 800. One more guy, I am going to give some love to Junior Caminero at plus 1,200 as well. Young,
you're a long shot lover.
Young,
you're a long
electric player. Yeah, life's too short to take favorites.
You're seduced by the juice, as some would
boring.
say.
It is boring to bet favorites. I'm not favorites better. Give me that. But yeah, those will probably be my 2 guys tonight. I like that. I am excited though, because I think some balls are going to be flying over the chop house tonight down in Atlanta.
Let's do it. Yeah, Home Run Derby was a 1960 television show. It was held in Wrigley Field and L.A. I remember Wrigley. And I used to catch, obviously I wasn't alive back then, but I caught the replays. And man, I just love that stuff. It was so dry. It was just dudes going out there hitting home runs, 3 up, next guy out, or 3 outs, boom, next guy up. And they would do, I think, the full 9 innings in 30 minutes that aired. 26 episodes. Pretty cool stuff there. All right. Keeping it moving quickly. Give me cliff notes on the draft. And I got a nugget that people probably didn't pay attention to from last night's Major League Baseball draft. Philly's first round pick seems like a maniac. What are your thoughts?
Oh, he's an absolute psychopath. Absolute psychopath. His name's Gage Wood. Obviously, if you guys don't know him, you probably know him from the 19 strikeout no-hitter in the College World Series against Murray State in an elimination game. He ended Murray State's magical run. Nobody thought they were going to even come close to the College World Series. He got interviewed after that game and said, what's going through your mind right now? You just threw a 19 strikeout no-hitter. He goes, I shouldn't have hit the guy. That's all he said. He said, that's all I got. I shouldn't have hit the guy. He hit one batter in the game. If he did not hit the batter, it would have been a perfect game. After throwing a 19 strikeout no-hitter in the College World Series, all he cared about was that he hit the guy. The dude's an absolute maniac. He's just insane. His fastball is very legit. He was up to 98. His 113th pitch in that game was a 98.6 mile an hour fastball in college. This kid's got juice. This is a situation where I don't think it's, a lock, and it doesn't seem like it's extremely likely, but there's a reason they took a lot of college pitchers for a reason. You know, the bullpen's not great. They don't have a ton of pitching depth down in their farm system. Honestly, one of the reasons I think they're going so college heavy right now is because I think they're tired of trading prospects for bullpen pieces. They've done it so much now. And I think they're starting to try and find guys that can make an impact sooner rather than later. They made 10 picks so far. 8 of them were college pitchers. One was a shortstop from New Jersey. He was one of the other ones, I believe, in the 9th round. And then they took a high school pitcher in there. But their first 3 picks, I really, really liked in this draft.
All right, great stuff from Luke. The only other thing I would add from last night's Major League Baseball draft, Corona, California becomes the first high school with 3 players picked in the top 50 of the same draft. Corona High School, located in Riverside County in Southern California, made MLB history yesterday. Corona's right-hand pitcher, Seth Hernandez, 6th overall. Billy Carlson was the 10th pick overall. And there was another gentleman, I want to say, that was 32nd pick. So the top 3 in the top 50, unbelievable. And if you're wondering, well, man, that high school must have ripped it up. They went 28-3, were dominate all season long. Upset loss to that great St. John Bosco school in the California Interscholastic Federation Southern Section semifinal. Down goes Corona with the hotbed of talent. Anyways, good stuff, Luke. Can't thank you enough for joining me here on a Monday. We'll continue to read you at Crossing Broad, following you on all things socials. Enjoy the Home Run Derby.
All right, Sean. Thanks, man. Talk to you.
There he is. Luke Arcaini on the Gambler Stream. All right. Sam Oshtry is going to join me on the other side. Great first hour of discussion. If you heard anything you want to get a take off, please get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler on socials. Me personally at Sean_Brace. And we are streaming on all things socials, including YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe, hit that button, mash it, smash it, whatever you want to do. Just get involved as we are live 3 to 6 Monday through Friday right here with the Daily Ticket. Other side, Sam Oshtry is going to join me. Cooper Flagg. Yeah, we're going to talk about his summer league debut. He played 2 games. One was definitely a little bit better than the other. A Keith Pompey Sixers tweet that got my blood boiling at about 7 a.m. this morning. Trendon Watford. I need to learn more about Mr. Watford, because the only thing that keeps throwing my way is him and Maxey were boys well before the NBA, the Sixers, and of course the Brooklyn Nets were both players emerged on the scene. So I need a little bit more about Trendon Watford and what the expectation is there. And apparently the Sixers are currently being built to absorb the absence of star center Joel Embiid. Is that true? Sam Oshtry is going to join me on the other side. We got a lot to discuss. Also want to squeeze this in. I never, ever, ever, ever in this job, in this world we live in, but me specifically here in the media world, I never wish ill on anybody. I really do mean that. There's maybe 1 or 2 guys like Howard Eskin. I was like, dude, go. Who, oh, by the way, was trying to get a gig here, I think. But anyways, that's for another day. He's just a complete loser. But, very rarely will I root against anybody in the media world to lose a job. Fox FS1 cut bait on a number of shows just about an hour ago. I am not lying to you when I tell you I was on vacation Friday morning. I caught this show for the first time. I sat, the remote wasn't the same. I'm not trying to hit buttons. I got my 2-month-old in my lap. I'm just watching what's on TV. And it was breakfast ball. And I wrote down on my phone when I get back to work on Monday, my goodness, I can't wait to talk about this show. It just got canceled. So I don't know if I'm going to go into great detail about what I saw on Friday. I don't think it was specifically to that show on Friday, but it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing to sit there and watch and know that these people over there getting good money, paid good money to do this on TV, national TV, and this is what you're giving me. So I want to tip my cap to the powers that be over at FS1 for pulling the plug, because I know that they were right behind Craig Carton in that cast. including the kid from Chicago, Danny Parkins, I want to say, Perkins, whatever his name is, who left a pretty good gig as far as radio is concerned. Again, I never root for this stuff, but, when we're all out there competing for opportunities, and this is what you're throwing out there on television, it's frustrating. If I had hair, I'd pull it out. I'll give you a couple more thoughts on that. We got a lot to get to, though. Sam Oshtry on the other side. Don't go any more of this.
The Gambler. Phillies home for all things sports gambling. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're down the Schuylkill westbound University to Jordan Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound backed up Montgomery Drive to south. 95 northbound back to Allegheny to Bridge. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Blue Route northbound heavy 95 to Media Swarthmore from an earlier crash. Fire to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much. I also have other symptoms like carpal tunnel syndrome and lower back pain, and I thought something's really off. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. It's a condition that gets worse over time, so starting treatment early is important. Talk to your cardiologist today to see if you have ATTR-CM. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Woohoo! Hear that? That's what having fewer hot flashes and night sweats can sound like. Veoza is the #1 prescribed hormone-free treatment FDA approved for moderate to severe vasomotor symptoms, also known as hot flashes and night sweats, due to menopause. Veoza can cause serious side effects, including liver problems. Your doctor will do blood tests before and during treatment. Stop Veoza and call your doctor if you have symptoms of liver problems, such as feeling more tired than usual, decreased appetite, nausea, vomiting, itching, yellowing of the eyes or skin, pale stool, dark urine, or stomach pain. Don't use Veoza if you have cirrhosis, severe kidney problems, kidney failure, or take CYP1A2 inhibitors. Ask your doctor about Veoza. To learn more, call 1-866-239-1637 or go to Veoza.com. That's VEOZAH.com.
Member Week is here at Lowe's. Don't miss your chance to get up to 40% off hundreds of items like paint, tools, home essentials, and more. Shop our exclusive deals happening in-store and online now through July 18th. Not a rewards member? Join for free today and get ready to save more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
If you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia, are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today. Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at TopDogLaw.com. Once again, that's TopDogLaw.com.
Summertime is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and at the top of every hour for your shot to win $1,000. Once you hear the keyword for that hour, get on over to foxphlgambler.com and enter to win a grand in your hand. Once again, that's 9 times a day for your chance to win $1,000. Nobody does it like Fox Sports The Gambler in Philly.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Get the Zip app and pay later. Zip lets you split bigger purchases into smaller payments, online and in-store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. At Morgan & Morgan, we don't back down. We fight to get you every dollar you deserve. No curveballs, no strikeouts, just results. That's why we've recovered over $25 billion for our clients and fight for them from offices nationwide. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hardworking, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
The Phillies roll into the All-Star break on top of the NL East. They lead the Mets by 1.5 games. Phillies back in action Friday. They'll take on the Angels. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni isn't using the word repeat with his team, saying he wants sustained success instead of another Super Bowl title. And Hall of Fame quarterback John Elway won't face charges in the golf cart death of his business partner after police ruled it an accident. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up, a crash has it crawling on the Schuylkill westbound University Teacher Board. The right lane is blocked. Further west, Jam Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, so Conchock to Belmont, and then backed up Montgomery Drive to South. Busy on the Vine Expressway both ways, Schuylkill to Broad, 95 northbound, so Walt Whitman to Penn's Landing and Allegheny to Bridge. Southbound, Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross, and so Ridley Park to 320. Blue Route northbound, Jan 95 to Media Swarthmore. Southbound, so Broomall to Media Swarthmore. I had to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Use the Zip app. With Zip, you can make more happen this summer. From front row at a baseball game to last-minute grocery runs for that BBQ. Zip lets you comfortably pay over time with a flexible payment schedule. You can use Zip online and in-store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's hear this tiger purr, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Member Week is here at Lowe's. Don't miss your chance to get up to 40% off hundreds of items like paint, tools, home essentials, and more. Shop our exclusive deals happening in-store and online now through July 18th. Not a rewards member? Join for free today and get ready to save more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/now. That's ethos.com/now.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeart Radio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
It's a different game, different pace, different feel, different spacing. It's a lot of adjustments, but we'll be all right.
Yeah, that's Cooper Flagg, who was dominating in Game 2 of his Summer League debut. Didn't do so much in Game 1, but man, did he shine in Game 2. 30-plus points, was all over the place, controlling the floor, pulling up from downtown, hitting it, and did so much that the Dallas Mavericks said, all right, that's enough. We're going to sit you down. No more. We've seen enough. We're going to go ahead and put the cap on that bottle and go ahead and put you in some bubble tape until the season gets going here. And that is the right call. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Summer League. We will also talk about the 76ers because there are some articles being written. Daryl Morey did address the media. Tyrese Maxey had something to say to the media. So there's a lot going on in the world of the Sixers. And Sam Oshtry, the perfect guy to have on today's show here on the Daily Ticket on a Monday. First show back. Sam, how we doing today, sir?
I'm great. Great to be back with you. Hope you enjoyed your weekend down in Avalon. I wasn't too far from you, but it's good to be back with you.
So good, man. It's a great time down there just to unplug and forget about anything and everything of importance and enjoy that sun.
You got some nice color too.
Oh, dude, it was ripping down there. Thursday rained a little bit. Not going to lie about that, but still it was a little overcast. We were still able to get out. But Friday and Saturday were just beach days. You know, the 5-year-old daughter, well, her cousins running around. And I was in charge of a 2-month-old. There's only so much you can do. You got them in this hand and you got your Mick Ultra in this hand. And that's all you can do. You're juggling too. That's it.
It's a good balance. Good balance.
All right, Sam, where do we start? Summer League. The fact that Cooper Flagg, it wasn't surprising. He's better than most players that are on the floor. But was there something specific that jumped off the page at you? And, oh, by the way, he did struggle in his first game, right? Like no one's caring too much. I'm sure that there were some shock jocks out there that put something on the timeline like an idiot would. But ultimately in that second game, he was explosive and everything you thought you'd get out of the first pick in this year's NBA draft. But is there something that jumped off the page at you when you watched Cooper Flagg in the 2 games of Summer League?
Nothing crazy because of what we saw from Duke, which is what made everyone believe this was a generationally great prospect and could immediately take over a franchise and become a franchise cornerstone in year 1. What I saw in game 1 and game 2, but really more so in game 1, was he got a lot of on-ball reps, and that's kind of a foreshadow for what the Mavs are going to need from him this season, where there's no Kyrie Irving to start the season. D'Angelo Russell is the other lead guard playmaker that they got. So Cooper Flagg is going to have a ton of on-ball reps immediately the second he plays his first NBA game. And you saw that in game 1 where they wanted to run a lot of actions through him. He had a lot of primary ball handling responsibilities. Even the Lakers threw a double team a couple times early in those possessions in the first game, just to kind of throw him off balance, knowing that he was going to be the lead ball handler. So that's kind of what you saw from the Mavs, and that's how the Mavs are going to approach the season until Kyrie Irving comes back, because they don't have a lot of guys who can create for themselves on the perimeter, other than Cooper Flagg, who's obviously going to be an 18-year-old rookie, and then they got D'Angelo Russell, who has had his moments. But so nothing crazy that I saw in Summer League other than those on-ball primarily ball handling reps, which is going to be what the Mavericks, how they utilize them, especially to start the season. He wasn't great in game 1, but that was just he missed a couple shots he usually makes. Game 2, he was awesome. Both games, he showcased his defense, which is what makes him such a unique prospect. Is it's not just offensively. He is just as good defensively, and that will immediately translate in the NBA. His off-ball rotations, his rim protection, his ability to guard on the perimeter, his foot speed, all of it. He is a phenomenal defender, and you saw that in those 2 Summer League games, and you're going to see that the second he steps on a real NBA floor.
Yeah, like I don't want to go crazy, but you're right. Like this is what was said about him: generational talent, and he's the overall number 1 pick. Like, yeah, if we're gonna go crazy, this is the guy to do it. And he delivered in that game 2, where he scored 31 and filled it up. And like I said, just the big, I don't know, it's the little things. Like I tuned in, I was able to catch a little bit of that game. Believe it or not, I watched a lot of Summer League over the weekend. It was just stupid. I'm in watching the final 4th quarter between the Hornets and the Jazz. I was like,
what am I? Sent a picture of that at the bar.
What am I doing right now? Yeah, it's because I was at the bar. One TV had that on, the other one had the Padres and Phils going at it. So that's kind of the best of both worlds. Live band, love that. Oh man, that icon of outdoor bar. Oh, that's a great spot. Great spot.
What was it called?
The Icona. It's the outdoor bar there.
I don't think I've been to that one. Did you get to the Princeton?
Look, it's just a different time, different world that I live in these days. I did not make the Princeton.
If you're a father of 2, I guess you're not allowed to go to the Princeton anymore.
I could have, believe me, I could have. Would the next morning have felt good? No. And that was going through my mind. So it's easier for me to just, you know what, let's see what's happening over here at this outdoor bar with a live band, 2 TVs that I know. I bellied up, was just sitting down, talking to a few people in and out, just enjoying myself versus now I'm going down to the Princeton. I got to shower, get ready. God only knows what's going to happen if I end up down that way. So, that's the difference. But anyways, we'll keep it moving here. Cooper Flag. I guess the big difference for me, and I don't know if this is going to carry over because, like I said, it's the Summer League, but like he brought an energy. Like you could just see, and I hate to be all like, lovey-dovey to Duke here, but it felt like the Duke vibe. And yeah, that plays well with those guys, but maybe he will have that type of energy out there because guess what? When he's making plays on the defensive side of the ball, that type is going to send those shock waves through the team. Like, all right, they're gonna vibe off of that. I don't know, maybe something that I might be thinking too much about. And he just felt like a floor general out there. Like even when the ball was in his hands, still felt like he could command, great handles. And I don't know if that's something that didn't hit me when I watched him at Duke, but it was eye-opening to see it at the next level. And again, it's Summer League, albeit, but still impressive.
I think that's something he's going to have to work on too, is his processing ability as the lead creator, especially the lead perimeter creator, which the Mavs are going to utilize him as immediately, again, without Kyrie Irving, which is the big thing, is why there's going to be so much, I don't want to call it pressure necessarily, but so much reliance on Cooper Flag immediately, the second he steps on the floor for the Mavs. But you're right about the energy. Like he plays so hard every possession on both ends, and that's what's so unique about him. And we've seen guys have bad debuts before, like Victor Wembanyama, who's already a top 10 player in the league to me, and he would have won Defensive Player of the Year last year if he didn't get hurt with or have the blood clot problem. He had a really bad Summer League debut, really bad. And people were questioning if he could handle the physicality of the NBA. And Cooper Flag, I didn't think he had a bad debut. He just didn't shoot the ball well. And I think it was like 5 for 24 or something. He just didn't shoot the ball well, didn't make shots he typically makes. I don't really care about the Summer League in general in terms of projecting the player they're going to be in the NBA. But I just didn't make anything of that debut because we've seen great players have bad Summer League debuts before. Then he comes out and has 31, is complete command of the game, even in a loss for the Mavs in his second game. I didn't expect him to play more than 2 games. So now he's shut down, and that's the right call by the Mavs.
Oh, it definitely is. It was a no-brainer. It does stink if somebody was heading out there expecting him to catch or expecting to catch him play. But, oh, no, you're rolling the dice if that's the reason you're going out to the Summer League. It still looks cool. It still is a big damn deal out there in Vegas. Big business as far as NBA is concerned. A lot of like little things that you would never know takes place during the Summer League. Refs are scouting the refs to see if they're ready to make the jump. All the agents out the wazoo, you can imagine imagine are out there of coaches that are trying to get back in the league, coaches that are trying to find a way, young coaches. Like, it's a big time operation out
Owners
there.
meetings today there.
Owners meetings.
Yeah.
Anything big, juicy that they're going to be discussing?
Not really. Maybe some small changes, some expansion that they're going to be talking about for sure, which is years away still at this point. This creation of the European League they'll be discussing today, but nothing big that's going to come away from it that'll affect next season or the year after that.
Anybody else as far as summer league? You know, we know what took place as far as the draft is concerned. Top 10, 20 picks. Anybody shining right now? What did Dylan Harper look in your mind? Anything else as far as summer league standouts? Let's call it that.
Yeah. So again, I don't really take too much into summer league because there's been great players who have had awful summer leagues and some really bad players who have had great summer leagues. So there's not too much you should take into it, but it is like, all right, you're going to watch a summer league. If you really like a prospect and he plays well and it fits your narrative, then you're going to build him up. And if he plays poorly and you don't like the prospect, then you're going to tear him down. So it's whatever fits your narrative, even though the summer league doesn't matter that much. I will give you a couple guys. First, Kasparas Yakuchonis, who I watched a lot of film up coming up into the draft. And I expected him to be a lottery pick, but he fell to the Heat and felt like a perfect fit for the Heat in terms of their development program, where he's a guy who can go into a development program like the Heat. He's not going to have to contribute a lot. His turnovers, I at Illinois, I didn't love how many turnovers he had, and he also constantly had to create with a ball screen. I didn't love his creation ability without a ball screen, and part of that's his athleticism. But he's shot the ball really well so far in Vegas, and he's playing at an extremely high level for the Heat for the summer league. So I like him long-term as a prospect. I don't know if he's going to contribute right away as a rookie, but I like him long-term. The second guy and the last guy I'll say is Han-Sen Yang, who Bernard and I were talking about, who was the 16th overall pick to the Blazers, who nobody expected to even be a first rounder. And everyone was killing the Blazers because it was like, who is this guy from China who nobody really knew? Nobody expected him to be in the first round. Nobody projected him to be in the first round. A completely raw prospect. He has been really impressive in the summer league. I'm not going to pretend like I watched a lot of film of him in China or leading up to the draft, but what I've seen in summer league has been really impressive. He has great touch. They called him immediately when he was drafted. Some scouts called him the Chinese Jokic. Now the Blazers are completely leaning into that because he has some similarities in terms of the touch around the rim, his passing ability. He can put the ball on the floor. He didn't play any even decent competition when he was over in China, so nobody really respected his game or knew how it would translate. But the Blazers obviously did their homework over there, that front office, which is a great scouting front office with Mike Schmitz, who used to work at ESPN back in the day. So that's a great scouting front office, and they obviously saw something, some raw talent and raw ability, where if they can get him in the right setting, he can really contribute. And he's been awesome in the summer league. I mean, his passing ability is Jokic-esque. And his touch and his finishing ability. So I don't know if he's going to contribute right away, but this is a guy we could be talking about. It's like, wow, everyone's clowning the Blazers. The Blazers just shocked everyone and fooled everyone because this guy is a legitimate NBA player.
All right. Yeah. Again, great breakdown. Well, not trying to go too crazy on summer league, but if I could bring up another player, and this was a guy that I just spoke about with you when we were talking about Janai Broom, and it's a college game where it's just a different monster versus the NBA. And you look at a guy like Drew Timme, who was a 3-time All-American, just a monster, scored points, automatic bucket, just a great player at college, has had some run, I believe got to the NBA, if I'm not mistaken, of course, quickly sent down G League, made a little bit of a mark there, but has really turned it on, including this past yesterday, 30 points, 13-24, had a great highlight dunk. Any shot he makes it for the Brooklyn Nets this year in your mind?
I think it's possible. I mean, the problem is they just are loaded with rookies now. They just drafted 5 rookies because they had 5 picks in the first round. So they're loaded with rookies, loaded with young talent. So I don't know if he's necessarily going to make the roster, but if it's not the Nets, someone else could pick him up because he's been pretty impressive. And, he did play 9 games in the NBA. He shot the 3-ball really poorly in those 9 games, 25%, but still averaged 12 points a game and over 7 boards a game. So, he had in his limited playing time, he had some success in the NBA, but he is more of a G League guy. But, I don't think a guy who was that accomplished in college, I don't think it's necessarily harmful to put him on the last man on your spot and let him make a roster spot at training camp. So if it's not the Nets, it could be someone else, but he has been great throughout the summer league.
Yeah, again, look, we're talking about guys that can come in and make a mark and fill a void and make a roster and hang on, and we'll see what happens. I just thought maybe bouncing around, he could fix something in his game that now he's catching eyes. And like I said, he was a hell of a college player. We'll see what happens there. All right, over to the 76ers. Anything that you've been paying attention to as far as Summer League is concerned from the Sixers? Anything that we need to know about now that, of course, Edgecombe has been out and we've just been dealing with nonsense as normal with this franchise? Anything that you think specifically we should be paying attention to with the Sixers in Summer League?
Well, VG Edgecombe hopefully does not play another game. It would just be stupid for him to play another game. It's unfortunate, but it's not a long-term injury. So there's nothing to be up in arms about. Anytime a Sixer gets injured, it's obviously a cause for concern just because it's a Sixer and everyone knows their injury luck, especially with rookies in the NBA, going just back to last year with Jerry McCain, who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year if he doesn't go down with that injury through 20-something games. So VG Edgecombe will be fine long-term. It's just not smart to play him the rest of the Summer League. There's no need to. Again, it's the Summer League. You get some good reps for a young player in live setting, but you're playing very similar competition that you played in college. In terms of other players, there's not really – like Janai Broom, I have not been impressed with, and that goes back to even when they were playing in the Salt Lake Summer League. I just haven't been impressed with him. I don't think he's going to be in the rotational. Adam Bona's been really good. We talked about him last week as a finisher around the rim, as a screen setter. He sets really hard screens. I can just envision Maxey coming off some of his ball screens and getting a ton of space. He's going to be part of the Sixers rotation and provide some front court depth, especially when Embiid's out of the lineup. And when Drummond has his injury problems, which are probably inevitable. So I like Adam Bona. I like what I've seen from him. There's not really too much takeaways in terms of what you're going to see next season on the court, but it's been a fun team to watch.
All right. So I wake up this morning and literally one of the first things I see on my timeline is a Keith Pompey tweet. Now, I don't mind Mr. Pompey. I know Keith very well, actually, over the years. I think he's a stand-up dude. He gets a major reaction on the timeline. I can't tell you what he's done over the years to get that type of reaction. I do remember he did this one 9/11 read, if I'm not mistaken, that people had fun with.
I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, other than that, like Keith Pompey is a guy that's been doing this for a long damn time. He obviously has some connections inside the organization. Not sure if they're still there, but he has somebody has his ear. Let's just put it that way. Pompey tweeted the following this morning, quote, "I don't think we can do it without that. I would like to say that, but I don't see it. So yeah, I do think we're very dependent on all those guys, including Joel." And that was Daryl Morey on the Sixers needing Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George to all be healthy to contend for next season's NBA title. Yeah, it's essentially the same roster that last season's team ended up winning 24 games. So, I'm trying. You and I played this game 2 weeks ago where I need something new. You made a great case there. The Athletic had an article, Sixers being built to absorb the inevitable absence of star center Joel Embiid. So I'm going to combine both of those. If that's the case, if Daryl Morey is telling us that Joel Embiid must be healthy for us to compete, but yet they're also building a roster that that it's inevitable that Joel Embiid is going to miss time here, where does that put us as fans? Like, how should we approach this season? What should be going through our minds right now? Because as I said, at the bottom of that tweet that Keith Pompey put out, yeah, they're running it back with the same damn team that won 24 games last year.
Nick Nurse was on a podcast yesterday or the day before, the Hoop Collective podcast, Brian Windhorst's podcast, and they were just asking him about the Sixers' expectations this season. And he said, we kind of need to recalibrate our expectations. And the first goal is the playoffs. And I think the fans should follow similar suit, because I think last season, after the Paul George acquisition, after everyone was writing that the Sixers won the offseason by signing Paul George, I think people's expectations immediately said championship or bust. And that's the ultimate goal. Everyone needs to recalibrate those expectations, and a playoff appearance is the first step. And that's kind of what Nick Nurse said. And that's what everyone should be hoping for after the disastrous season that they had. There is going to be an inevitable absence from Joel Embiid. If it's a long-term absence, if it goes into the playoffs, and the Sixers have no chance of competing even in a weakened East. But there will be that absence, and the Sixers now need to withstand the absence from Embiid and potentially Paul George too. And I think they've done a better job of that by getting more athletic and younger with their backcourt. Jared McCain's going to be coming back. VJ Edgecombe's going to be coming back. I really believe Justin Edwards is going to be a key part of this rotation. Hasn't been great in Summer League, but his usage has been too high in Summer League. That's not his role. I really believe Adam Bona is going to be a guy who is going to fill in and give awesome minutes when Joel Embiid is out. So I think everyone just needs to recalibrate their expectations and say, all right, first step is getting to the playoffs. And that getting to the playoffs, part of that is building a roster, which I think the Sixers have done pretty well, building a roster to withstand the absence of Joel Embiid for long stretches throughout the regular season. So I think they've accomplished that throughout this offseason. The next step after getting to the playoffs, of course, in a weakened East, anything can happen. You need Joel Embiid healthy. So, yeah, they're running it back. That's not exactly rocket science, like breaking news to anybody. Of course they're running it back. They don't really have a ton of other options, and they're really just hoping for health. So hope has been the Sixers' enemy and Sixers fans' enemy because hope has not gotten anyone anywhere since Embiid came to the organization. But all they really can do is hope for a healthy Embiid in the playoffs. But they've done a better job of withstanding the absence of Embiid to get to the playoffs, which, of course, is step one.
I believe Dave McMenamin, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, had a report this weekend, or was it Bontemps, one or the other, that Joel Embiid hasn't even stepped on the floor yet to practice.
I saw that. I don't know who it was, but I saw that. A little concerning.
Little concerning?
It's been quite a bit since he got shut down. That's definitely a little concerning.
So we just need to we got to be realistic with it.
Yeah, I mean, look. The Sixers aren't winning the championship next year. They're not. Yeah. They're not going to beat the Knicks. They're not going to beat the Cavs. Who you want to put the Magic in there? They're not going. We just saw what happened in the playoffs. We saw in the Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals, there's one day in between every single game. Joel Embiid is not getting through a really physical, tough series with one day of rest in between every single game. It's not happening. There's no chance of it. So everyone needs to recalibrate those expectations. Sixers are not winning the championship, and they're not even making the NBA Finals because that's not happening. But can this team get back to the playoffs? Can they be fun again? Can they be worth watching and go? People should actually be buying tickets and going to games. That's really the next step for me. And it's really low expectations from 2 years ago when it was like, all right, how can we make this team into a championship contender off of Embiid's MVP season? But that's where we're at right now. Like, let's be realistic about it. I know you're realistic about it. I'm realistic about it. A lot of people aren't. We should be, though.
Yep. No, cut that. That was a good one. You're right. And one of the new pieces that we haven't discussed at all, really, and I'm curious to know your take. And the only thing that I continue to see and read is that he was Tyrese Maxey's boy growing up, Trendon Watford from Brooklyn Nets, and now a part of the 76ers. And again, this was the Athletic / New York Times. I had a good article that I was able to catch because I don't subscribe. I think I have 5 clicks. Anyways, the two have been friends for years. Maxey was quoted and he said, I think he brings an element that we haven't had. He's someone who can rebound and kind of push the pace and create. He's someone who can guard multiple positions on the other end of the floor. And at the end of the day, if you have somebody we can throw the ball to in the post in mismatched circumstances, then he can go and get a bucket for us for sure. Your thoughts on what type of impact Watford's going to have in year one, where he at as far as the signing is concerned. And, I'm not opposed to bringing in people that are friendly, but at the end of the day, I don't give a damn about that. I just want the best damn player out there. Your thoughts when that whole type of scenario gets brought up as well, him and Maxey being boys growing up.
He played 44 games for the Nets last year, averaged 10 points in 20 minutes. So he's pretty effective scorer. Of course, it was a really bad team, got way more touches there. But he's a downhill driver type player, like plays with a brunt physical force. Good back to the basket player, can operate in the mid post. So I like his game. I think he can be part of the rotation. I think he's another guy who can, when they have those injuries or absences to Paul George, Embiid, some of these other backcourt guys, he will be part of the rotation. He can have great nights where he can help you win regular season games with your depth. So I do think it's been in a way an underrated addition because I do think he's going to contribute and be a part of the rotation. It's not a needle mover by any stretch. And in terms of his relationship with Tyrese Maxey, I mean, Tyrese Maxey has had a pretty big imprint on this franchise, it seems like. Even going to the workouts with VJ Edgecombe, he was at those dinners with VJ Edgecombe. I'm sure Morey asked for his opinion on VJ Edgecombe after those workouts and after those dinners that Maxey was at, that he got to know him. So, look, Maxey is the future of this franchise. Embiid is not. Everyone knows that. Maxey can't be the best player on a championship team, but he is still the Sixers' future as of now, because Embiid will not even be a player in the league probably in 5 years. So I don't hate having Maxey give his input and bringing guys in who he has a relationship with and probably can speak highly of in terms of their character, the person they are, because the player you can see on film. So I don't really have a problem with that at all.
All right. Sam Oshtry does a bang-up job for the Score. He covers a lot for them over there as far as sports gambling is concerned. We even are diehard Birds fans together. So when things are written about Jalen Hurts, it's definitely going to get shared in the Gambler Gang chat, and I'm glad that Sam was able to put that in there this morning. So we're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks coming up on the other side from this ESPN list that just failed across the board and where they have Jalen Hurts ranked at this point in time. You know what it is. It's Monday. It's summertime. That's what it's all about. Time to create a list to get the people talking, and it's going to work. However, we do have some news that Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return from a blood clot. So on the other side, I need an award that you think Victor is most likely going to win, and whether or not we should fire on DraftKings Sportsbook and back said wagers. Sam Oshtry from the Score hanging with me here on a Monday. It's the Daily Ticket. Get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler. More after this.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
The NFL Top 100 list is being released as we speak, and while I love the drama and slow drip of reveals, I'm cutting to the chase, and I'm telling you who should be number one on that list for the upcoming NFL season. Actually, scratch that. I'm telling you who better be, and that's Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles. Last season, Barkley was flat out a force. If not for missing the final game, he would have shattered his single-season rushing record. He was electric, unstoppable, and the driving force behind the Eagles' Super Bowl run. Let's stop pretending the number one spot has to go to a quarterback. It's not always Mahomes, especially when he lost the Super Bowl. Sorry, them the rules. The number one player should be the top dog, the best of the best. And for my money, that's Saquon Barkley.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Things are busy now on the Vine Expressway. Both ways, Schuylkill to 95. The westbound Schuylkill crawling approaching University to Girard with a crash in the right lane. Eastbound Schuylkill heavy, Blue Route to Belmont. Then stop and go Montgomery Drive to south. Slow traffic on 95 northbound, Walt Whitman to Penn's Landing. Then Jan approach the Betsy Ross Bridge. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Delays on the Blue Route northbound 95 to Route 1. Southbound from Broomall to Media Swathmore. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
I'm Dr. Damon Tanton for Viome. Viome's full body intelligence test is the new science in anti-aging and life-extending insights. Viome analyzes your biological age to see if your body is aging too rapidly. You'll learn how making simple, precise changes in certain foods and supplements can, get this, slow your aging, keep you looking young, and help prevent future health issues. Next, Viome doctors design supplements specifically to your body's needs. Their job is to slow down and help reverse how fast your body is aging. And your Viome microbiome test reveals why you have stomach issues, don't sleep well, have low energy, even why you can't lose weight, and more. Viome reboots your body to live longer, live healthier, and look younger.
Viome is changing lives. Order your full body intelligence test online and save $50. Viome guarantees rapid, remarkable health improvements your doctor will notice. Visit Viome.com, promo code THRIVE. That's VIOME.com, promo code thrive.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month and experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying for it. For well-qualified bills, $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid total of 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Hey, y'all, this is Jason Aldean. You know I'm all about supporting what matters to us, our families, our freedoms, and our country. That's why I made the switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. With Patriot Mobile, you're getting top quality service on the same great networks. And every bill helps support our veterans and defend our freedoms. It's time to put your dollars where it counts. Join me in switching to Patriot Mobile today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Aldean or call 972-PATRIOT today.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
May I have your attention, please?
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Briggs, Philly's first daily sports gambling show.
Let us see the down!
On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
You know, I normally don't rip on the ads from the national perspective here, but Patriot Mobile. Oh, you know, yeah, like Jason Aldean, you seem like a nice guy. You make good music for a lot of people out there. But like you say, put your money where we're going to back veterans and help the people that defend this. Oh, how? How much of the proceeds are going and where are they going? See, there are a lot of people out there that just go, oh, Patriot Mobile, I need to do that. Make the switch. You know, no, how are you going to put the money where your mouth is? That's what I want to know. And I'm like, look, dude, I don't want to be involved with Apple the way I am, and the way I have been for the last 2 decades of my life. AT&T, Verizon, whatever it is, your carriers, that's fine. But at the end of the day, man, these people, Patriot Mobile, really? Jeez.
I don't really know what you're talking about, but
you didn't hear the ad?
No, I wasn't listening. but I will say I'm going to Nashville in a month.
Nice.
And I've been once before. One of my favorite bars anywhere across this country is Aldean's.
Really?
Awesome, incredible spot. I'm excited to go back.
Is that
You ever
the
been?
place that Morgan Wallen threw the chair off the top of the roof?
I think it might be,
was.
honestly. Yeah. Great rooftop, like great different levels like of music at every floor, live band, live music, DJ, more club atmosphere on a different floor. And Morgan Wallen actually opened a bar there, and I haven't been back since he did. But so I'll check that out too. But Aldean's awesome bar. I don't really know much about the guy, but yeah.
Patriot Mobile. I'm sure there'll be a couple ads in the men's bathroom somewhere there for you to check out a promo code or two. Anyways, let's keep it moving. Sorry about that. Do want to quickly hit on this. I was gone away for a couple of days, so things are different, right? You survive in advance. And in the morning, I'm up bright and early, got the 2-month-old feeding. Wife could get a little bit more sleep, whatever it may be. Again, she's a rock star. It's not me. Like, she does everything at night. She's like, get out of my way. I wake up at 6, take over then. She sleeps. All right. That's the way we do it. God bless her soul. I'm not here to argue. That's how we did it on vacation, too. So I was sitting there, and I got a TV that I'm not used to and a remote that doesn't really work all that well. So I put it on a channel. Thank God we had the Scottish Open, watched a ton of golf. But I found myself watching some things that I normally didn't watch. And it was on FS1, the show by the name of Breakfast Ball, hosted by Craig Carton, who I was a big fan of Craig Carton at a time in my life. And then, of course, he had the fallout where he had the scandal, and he was a complete loser who ripped people off and yet still went to prison, was able to come out and get hired by Fox and get back on TV. And I know it built up a great audience, but I'm looking at like, really? Like, this is the guy you reward? He just went to jail. And then all of a sudden he's out there doing anti-gambling ads. Like, all right, just phony to the nth degree, okay? Across the board. So I watch Breakfast Ball reluctantly for the first time, I kid you not, ever in my life. I don't know how long it's been on the air with, 2 years, whatever it was. But Carton has always been funny in my mind. I'm watching that show on Friday, Sam, and I was embarrassed. I was honestly embarrassed that there was a network that was pushing him. There was a network that's pushing that show. There's a network that was paying 3 contracts to do that show on top of whatever else it goes into producing a show like that. And again, I want to take square on the people that are on camera because that's all that matters. But it was brutal. And it was such a bad watch. I could not believe that this is the show that he's hosting, A, and then B, like I said, there's money being put in. Well, an hour before this show went live, his show got canceled. Unbelievable how that worked out. I kid you not. And I don't think it was just based off of Friday's show because there was a number of other Fox shows that ended up getting canceled. I think they do a pretty good job. Like, First Things First is a good show. I don't watch it, but come on, man. Nick Wright, Broussard, I think that's a good show. Not everything is going to be PTI. There's plenty of room. You know who works hard. Nick Wright is one of those guys that comes off to me. Again, don't agree with everything he says, that he works hard. Still on the air, apparently. But the Emmanuel Acho show, all those other shows, they ended up getting the plug pulled on them today. So tough day for FS1, folks. But, man, Breakfast Ball was a brutal watch on Friday.
Some things I want to refrain from commenting on. I actually know Craig Carton's daughter really well, so I won't say anything. I do think, yeah, really well. I do think, no, not like that anyway. But
yeah. But just think, how do you know her, Maryland?
Say it again.
How do you know her, Maryland? Shore?
Sure. He actually has a place down the shore in Margate, or at least his family, some connection. He's been in Margate a bunch.
Good grief,
Craigie. He actually is really, really talented. I think I have never watched the show, and I guess it just didn't work. And I mean, you would know more than most.
Radio, he was great, dude. There's no denying that. That morning show hummed, and when he was not on it, it took a serious hit, and it still has. They got some dude. What's his name? I forget. He fills in. He does a good job. But Boomer and Carton, whatever. Yeah, Boomer and Carton. That was a great watch. I watched it. I was a huge Carton fan. I was. But, obviously he made decisions in his life. He had to pay for them. Yeah. And I just think he's fraudulent. But that's it. Go ahead.
No, for sure. But, like, there's a lot of people that are talented that just get the benefit of the doubt because they're talented and get more opportunities because of that. The show, I never watched it, but I saw, like, clips, obviously, on social media. It always felt like a weird mix of people. And I like Schlereth, too. I think he's good as well. But, like, Nick Wright, I don't watch that show, but Nick Wright is exceptionally talented, and he's one of the smartest dudes in sports media. So it makes sense why that show's still going and why there is some interest for it. The big news was Joy Taylor out, and that's after all the scandal, I guess you can call it, where a hairstylist accused a bunch of people of misconduct, and in the lawsuit it said there was like something going on between Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho. And Joy Taylor's been veering off the sports path quite a bit recently, if you've seen some of the clips on Twitter. So it seems like she'll be done with sports media and go into different type of media, call her daddy-esque media, if you will. But so that's that. But yeah, I mean, I think Craig Carton's really talented, and I guess we'll leave it there. I mean, usually I have a take on everything. You want to talk about Epstein files? I can talk about that. I got nothing on this one.
Well, look, I understand, and like he's got a family, and I wish nothing but the best for him as far as life is concerned. But he is one of those guys too that has put it out there, like, oh, I'm the best, and no one could touch me, and where I am under the umbrella of like, I don't really talk when someone loses their gig, like I don't really say anything, keep it moving, whatever. He was one of those guys that would. Oh, see, I told you that show was terrible. It should have been off like 2 years ago. He always had something to say. So again, karma comes back around every once in a while, and it will get you. But
sure does.
Again, we'll see. To your point, it'll be picked up by somebody.
Yeah, because I think I think I saw rumors that he might go back to WFAN. But some of the other guys, like, a guy who got let go is our guy, Shady McCoy. He's not at Fox anymore because of his show. Got canceled. He was on that show with Emmanuel Acha. So, of course, we love Shady. I thought he was funny, too, on TV. But there was a couple of those other guys are going to stick around Fox. I think Danny Perkins, and I forget some of the others will just be putting on their shows. But they're just competing with ESPN. It's like Colin Cowherd is Colin Cowherd. He is the best in the business, so will always have his time slot. They're competing with Get Up and First Take. It's like those guys, everyone's going to those shows in the morning if you're interested in that type of stuff. So it's just you already have such a long way to go to compete with those guys. It's a really hard spot to even be put in.
Yeah, I think Carton was a commodity that most people knew. So maybe if you try something new, you might. I don't know. It is interesting, though. That's good to know that Danny Perkins or Parkins, whatever his name is, going to stay, because he ended up leaving a pretty good gig in Chicago on radio to go to Fox to do television. So that's interesting. Good stuff there. All right. Nobody cares about that. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about this NFL list that everybody cares about in Philadelphia.
I mean, it's the driest week of the sports calendar. There's literally nothing going on this week. MLB's All-Star break. WNBA is going to All-Star break. They have the ESPYs this week. When it's ESPYs week, there's nothing going on in the sports world.
Play the Valvano speech. Play it.
Always a classic.
Always a classic. Man. And it makes me cry every time. Year, man. Every year I shed a tear when Jimmy V goes up there and says, don't ever give up.
Who's hosting this year, so it's going to be a must watch.
It's interesting because I saw him doing a serious commercial, and I'm like, see, that's all right. So Shane Gillis is hosting. Everybody loves Shane, and I'm not here to say anything negative about him, but I don't know. It is interesting. Like, maybe if I was in his camp, I would have said, you don't have to do everything. Like
the old overexposure factor.
This is like, I just saw him doing a serious read, and I'm like, I don't know, man. You got a podcast where you just rip on anything and everything, and that's what you're really known for. You're a comedian, and then now he's up there doing an ESPN like real cancer read, and it's like, maybe he's trying to expand his portfolio, and do things like that. But he is funny. We'll see if he gets up there and has a funny monologue because he's going to have plenty of time to do so. But that's a tough crowd, man. That's a tough crowd. We'll see what he's got.
Yeah, I know he's a big sports fan, but I've never really heard him do comedic bits about like sports or rip into the sports world. So it'll be interesting how he handles that in front of all those athletes you're supposed to make fun of.
Yes, exactly. I'm sure he'll have a few laughs in there mixed in, but love Shane, and a huge fan of Tires, which is his show, and everything he's been able to do. It's a show that he's putting together and producing right here in Norristown, I believe, is the tire shop. And it's got some great funny people in it. Tommy Pope, Andrew Schultz. Like, the show is legit. So like I said, just what you pointed out with the overexposure and the serious note, like, I don't know. It kind of hit me a little bit different, but we'll see. If he slays it, nobody's going to remember that serious commercial that he did for ESPN. Let's talk about this list, though. You wrote, or you sent this to us earlier today. And now ESPN has, at the slow time of year, they're concocting the lists in the NFL, as they have done in years past, where they go around and they are able to get coaches, execs, and scouts ranked on the NFL top 10 from each position. We hit on the running backs where Saquon Barkley already got number 1. But now we're under the quarterbacks. And it said, hey, a reminder of the rankings process. Voters gave us their 10 best players at a position. Then we compiled the results and ranked candidates based on number of top 10 votes, composite average, and dozen of interviews with research and film study help from ESPN NFL analyst Matt Bowen. In total, more than 70 voters submitted a ballot on at least one position, in many cases all positions. Additional voting and follow-up calls with those surveyed helped us break any ties. All in all, I feel you. I can believe you to a point, but you're not going to hit send and create a post unless there's something there. And I'm not a big time tinfoil hat guy, but you know darn well that if you put Jalen Hurts or anything Philadelphia down on the list or leave them off to the list, that's going to work out as far as clicks are concerned. And I don't think you can do much in the top 5, top 4, right? Like top 4 quarterbacks. No matter who you are, you're going to have Mahomes in there. You're going to have Josh Allen in there. You're going to have Lamar Jackson. And Joe Burrow better be in your top 4. You haven't been watching the league. Okay? He's proved everybody wrong. Those 4 are the best quarterbacks in the game. But after that, then you can go ahead and mix and match. And I don't think people are going to get too bent out of shape. You know, you're going to have your biases, your teams, your favorite quarterback, so on and so forth. But Jalen Hurts, who just won a Super Bowl, who's been to 2 Super Bowls in the short time with the Philadelphia Eagles, the tush push. You know what he does. That's the one guy that will be a lightning rod. I feel like that they concocted this, they cooked this list up and slid him at 9 to get a reaction. And here we are talking about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. He's better than 9th in the league. He just won the Super Bowl, Sam.
So, it is a legitimate list. Like, let's start with that. Yes, there's controversy, and you could even say Lamar Jackson at 4 is the most controversial thing more than this, because this was a guy who most people thought was going to win MVP last year until Josh Allen swooped in. But Lamar Jackson was still first team all NFL. So this is a controversial list for sure for a couple reasons. But it is a legitimate list. Like, a lot of times this time of year, people will put out, like, individuals, PFF, Chris Sims, whatever it is, they'll put out the ridiculous quarterback list, and people will react and get worked up. This is Jeremy Fowler of ESPN.
You don't think ESPN would do something?
But it's not fake. Like, there are 70 scouts, executives, coaches.
According to who? To ESPN.
Yeah, but according to Jeremy Fowler in his reporting, what do you think? He just made up the fact that he talked to all these people?
All right, so Jeremy Fowler is the one guy that we're going to believe his word is gospel. Jeremy Fowler.
It's not his word, though. That's the whole thing. It's not his list. It's the scouts, and this is consensus. And look, I think it's true. Like, I think that if you did pull most of the league, Hurts would be closer to 10 than he would be to 5. I think that's true. And I just do. So I just want to first establish the fact that I want to establish the fact first that this is a legitimate list. And this list actually matters because it is what the decision makers of the NFL think. So that matters. Wow. This isn't like I saw a list right before we got on, which really got me all pissed off. A Bleacher Report all-time NBA players list. The Bleacher Report just doing their thing.
Slide? Is it the one where you slide? You go next.
Exactly. So Bleacher Report had an all-time NBA list, and Kobe Bryant's at number 11. Just got me all pissed off. That's for clicks. That is a BS list for clicks.
As he's over your shoulder right now.
Yeah, exactly. This is a legitimate list. And look, my rankings, if I'm going my quarterback rankings, I have Hurts at number 5. But I can't sit here and be like fake outrage, like this is so ridiculous, and pretend not to understand why most of the league would have Hurts closer to 10 than to 5. And it's because most of the league views him as the best situation of any quarterback in the entire NFL. And that's a fact. Like, he has the best offensive line in the entire NFL. He has the best running back and thus the best running game in the entire NFL, which, of course, Hurst contributes to and deserves credit for. He is a top 3 wide receiving core in the NFL. He is a top 5 to 7 tight end in the NFL. These are just facts.
You're right now, currently correct. But 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, tell me what that wide receiver core was. Tell me who the running backs were. Yeah, they still had an unbelievable offensive line, but like, this isn't a fluke what took place last year. This dude is still going to produce no matter who is around him. Like, Yeah, you want to sit here and say, okay, put Jared Goff on the Eagles last year. Are they going to have success? Okay, I'm not here to argue that. But put Jalen Hurts on the Detroit Lions. I think they have the same success.
I'm
not
with
better.
Well,
Okay,
I'm with you, but like
I'm not arguing with you. I know I get a little emotional, but I'm not arguing with you. We see it similar, and I think you're onto something by saying that's how he's viewed in the league. I think you're right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And the reason is because they look at what happened last season, which was such an effective running game, getting the best running back in the league behind the best offensive line and the best situation in football for a quarterback to be in. And then look at the year prior when he had to be a high volume passer and he wasn't very good. Like if he's throwing more than 500 passes a game, it's not a good thing. And I think people around the league knock him for not being a guy capable of throwing more than 500 or 470 passes throughout a season, where a lot of these other guys like Goff and Stafford and Jane Daniels, those guys have to be. Like he had 15 picks the year before last year and an 89 quarter or passer rating. Like that's not great. And I'm not this isn't me saying it. I'm saying it for on behalf of how the league views him and why it's not so inconceivable to understand why he might be closer to 10 than to 5. And we're still talking about a top 10 quarterback in the league. Let's not get it wrong. Like the questions and debates of whether you can win a Super Bowl with the guy are way over. Of course you can win the Super Bowl with the guy because he's as good of a winner and as clutch of a quarterback that exists in the entire league, and that includes the great Patrick Mahomes. So I'm defending Jalen Hurts, but I just want everyone to believe to realize, why he's closer to 10 than to 5 in most people's minds. I don't know if you want to go guy by guy, because there's a couple people that I think Hurts should absolutely be ahead of. I'd probably I have him at 5, but it'd be more reasonable for him to be like 6 or 7 in my mind. But there is this old school belief throughout the NFL that permeates where the pocket passers are considered the best quarterbacks. And I think that is an old school way of thinking. And they think that leads to winning football, when in reality, the great running quarterbacks are actually taking over the NFL. And so that's outdated thinking, but I still think it permeates throughout the NFL decision makers, where those guys don't view Hurts in that light, where they don't really recognize what he can contribute to the running game to winning football. And they just look at, oh, well, Matthew Stafford's still this phenomenal pocket passer. Justin Herbert, who has no business being ahead of Jalen Hurts, has these tangibles and these physical attributes to be a great pocket passer.
Yeah, Sean Bernard. Yeah, well said, Sam. And Sean Bernard tweeted, any list that has Justin Herbert in front of Jalen Hurts, like, what are we doing here? That's why they play the games, and he's so spot on with it. Just that take. That's why they play the games. And we want to sit here and compare rosters. I think there's pretty good rosters all across the league. You want to look at a guy like Josh Allen, who really wowed me last year with that offense in Buffalo, no doubt. I'm with you. But Baltimore has a good damn roster. Kansas City, good. I mean, Travis Kelce is one of the greatest tight ends we've ever seen play the game. That doesn't count for Andy Reid's unbelievable. Like, you can go down the list and you could take shots at all these guys and build them up if you want. But to your point, if you do read a little bit more, it says, quote, the question isn't whether Hurts belongs in the top 10. He undoubtedly does. It's whether he has the ability from the pocket to vault into the top 5 eventually, as his Super Bowl pedigree would suggest he could. Did we not watch these games? Let me ask you that. Like, Sean Bernard, yeah, you're right. But that's people, these execs, these coaches, did they watch the Super Bowl when he threw that dagger to Devontae Smith, when he hit A.J. Brown on the outside for that first down, when he has done it countless times? Literally, the only game that I can remember he struggled all that much was the Rams game, and it was because there was 3 inches of snow on the ground, and it was whipping around down there. Everybody struggled. But all in all, Jalen Hurts has done plenty in the pocket, throwing the football to satisfy any questions that I have ever had. And Jaden Daniels is a rising star in this league. Show me what you got, son. Because CJ Stroud is a guy that I thought was going to have an unbelievable year 2, and he made me look like a complete idiot. Jaden Daniels, everyone's building him up. Let's see what you got with the Commanders. I'm saying it's not that easy. So you want to put him top 5 over Jalen Hurts? Come on, man. I just think you're cooking something up for clicks. Again, not at you, but the people that are putting the list together. Just saying.
That's what I think most of the league doesn't get right with the Jalen Hurts discussion, is they discount the intangibles. And Jalen Hurts' greatest intangible is he is a winner, and he is clutch. Every big moment, he elevates his performance. You talk about 2 Super Bowls where he led his team to 35 points in 2 Super Bowls in 3 seasons. You could say between those 2 Super Bowls, he outplayed maybe the greatest quarterback who ever played the game of football, Patrick Mahomes. He's in the conversation recently with Tom Brady. So Jalen Hurts outplayed that guy in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. So what are we talking about when you're putting Justin Herbert ahead of Jalen Hurts? Because the intangibles, elevating your performance in big moments, winning playoff games matters. And we've seen Justin Herbert blow a 27-point lead in his first playoff game. His team was up 27-0 against the Jags, and they lost that game 31-30. That's on the quarterback, however way you put it. The ball is in his hands more than anyone else. I don't care what else happened in that game. Then you talk about last year, Justin Herbert has 4 picks. The Chargers lost the playoff game to the Texans last year because of Justin Herbert. There's no other way to put it. He had 4 picks, and 3 of them were all his fault, completely inexcusable. So I think Justin Herbert is around a top 10 quarterback, somewhere between like 9 and 12. And I think you can win with a Justin Herbert. But when you're comparing him to Jalen Hurts, do we not see the playoff performances? Do the playoff performances not matter? I don't care about the physical attributes. I don't care about the pocket passer that Justin Herbert is compared to Jalen Hurts, or however NFL evaluators want to view that. I care about who was the better player in the biggest moments on the biggest stages, and that's and that's Jalen Hurts. So that's an atrocity that Justin Herbert is ranked ahead of Jalen Hurts. And the other one I have a big problem with is the guy you just alluded to, which was Jaden Daniels. Because you look at this list last year, and CJ Stroud was number 7 on this list last year, and now he's not even top 10. So I think it's very premature to crown a guy after 1 year. And you hear coaches talk about this all the time, where it's pretty hard to scout guys in their rookie season who are having great rookie seasons because there's not that as much tape on them, and it's such limited time to actually scout a guy when he's putting all this tape on a rookie season. But now the rest of the NFC East and the rest of the entire NFL, particularly the NFC, has a full offseason of scouting Jaden Daniels, just like the AFC and the NFL, a full offseason of scouting CJ Stroud last year. And you saw some heavy regression from CJ Stroud, where NFL personnel aren't even ranking him as a top 10 quarterback this year, when going into last year, he was number 7. Similar with Jane, I think Jane Daniels is going to be an awesome quarterback. He just has all the talent. He's going to be a great quarterback in this league for a long time. But it's premature crowning to being the number 5 quarterback when every time he went up against Jalen Hurts last season, Jalen Hurts was definitely the best quarterback in that game, undoubtedly, by every statistical measure that you could look at in those 2 games, because Jalen Hurts got a concussion in that late regular season game that they played. But in the 2 games they played, the one playoff one and the one earlier in the regular season, Jalen Hurts was the better player. So let's not crown Jaden Daniels when now the rest of the league has an entire year offseason to scout this guy, and we'll see how he performs in his sophomore season. So those are the 2 guys I have a serious problem with being ahead of Jalen Hurts. The others, I can understand it. I can understand Jared Goff. I can understand Matt Stafford. I would take Jalen Hurts because of the winner that he is. But I understand why the rest of the league, why most people in the NFL would view those guys as better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts.
It's just funny with Goff. It's like, dude, think about that Detroit Lions offense, the receivers that he had, the running backs, the coordinator, the head coach, everything. And then what he did in LA with McVay, who is, a genius when it comes to offense. I'm not here to argue Stafford. Stafford has proven it time and time again, number 1 overall pick. He's a badass quarterback. I just think it's funny. He's tough as ass. That's what exec was. So
yeah.
What's Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts isn't like what?
Jalen Hurts is not tough. Like, are you what? Yeah, So I'm not here to argue that. Like I said, I think those top 4, I'm fine with it. Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in my mind and in yours. And you could say it's the Eagles bias. That's fine, but I would take him over Jaden Daniels. If I had to choose right now, Stafford is on his last leg. So, yeah, I'm taking Jalen Hurts over Matthew Stafford. Justin Herbert, taking Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. Jared Goff, taking him over Jared Goff. Taking him over CJ Stroud. Taking him over Baker Mayfield. They often reference Russell Wilson's name came up a lot with this whole conversation of Jalen Hurts. And I don't know, like, Russell was a great quarterback, but there has been no doubt in my mind that when I think about the Seattle Seahawks, I think about defense, Legion of Boom. That's the first thing I think of when they had their great year run. Like that, Russell was a great quarterback. The comeback against the Green Bay Packers, he made a ton of plays. He would roll out, throw the ball for grabs. It would be caught. Like, Russell was a great quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson was at his prime.
It's disrespectful to Jalen Hurts, all these comparisons to Russell Wilson.
Thank you, yeah. I agree.
We're talking about like a mentality matters. Mentality matters. And Jalen Hurts is the ultimate winner. Russell Wilson doesn't get near enough criticism for throwing an interception on the goal line. The play call gets all the criticism. And of course, it was an awful play call. You hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. But someone threw the ball. Someone threw the ball to Malcolm Butler to win the Patriots that Super Bowl. And Russell Wilson was the guy who made that decision to throw that ball and throw an interception on the goal line. Jalen Hurts would never do that. I can promise you that. We've seen him in 2 Super Bowls, and he was phenomenal, as good as you could possibly be, except for that one fumble in the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But he was really as good as you could possibly be in those 2 Super Bowls. He elevates his game in the biggest moments, and he continues to get better every single year. So it's a mentality thing. Yeah, you can say the defense and the help, and he needs a great team surrounding him. That's what's similar between Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts because of the early success they've had in their careers going to multiple Super Bowls. But it's the mentality and the growth mindset that Jalen Hurts has that Russell Wilson, I don't think really ever had. So that's the difference between those two guys. I don't like the comparisons. That's assuming that Jalen Hurts is on a downward trajectory for his career and he's going to somehow tail off and not be a great quarterback in the latter half of his career. And I don't like that one bit.
Well, Sam, football season inching closer, sir.
Sure
and
is.
Of course, the Eagles will be opening up with the Dallas Cowboys at home. Make sure you are getting your tickets over at TickPick, the official fan experience partner of the Philadelphia Eagles, with no hidden fees and the lowest price guaranteed. Don't get benched, folks. Seats now at tickpick.com before all the best games sell out. I was locked into my Bible, my college football Bible, and on the beach, was able to read a little bit about the SEC and the Big Ten, a little bit more about both of those conferences than anything else. But it's SEC Media Day today. And my father-in-law asked me, said, so what's the big team? Like, tell me the big team that, the magazine's telling you, right? He's just honestly, I would say Penn State. I would, from the magazine, from the write-up, everything, the rankings, the biggest takeaway that I am from Phil Steele's college football preview 2025, Penn State better run it. And if Penn State doesn't win it this year and beating, Ohio State and make that run, then I don't know if they're ever going to do it because they have an unbelievable offensive line back. Drew Aller back. You don't have to like him, but still, it's been there forever. Running backs are back. Defense just added an unbelievable, Franklin's a hell of a recruiter. The big takeaway from that magazine is, yes, Texas is Texas with Arch, but Penn State, it's got to be their year this year. That was my big takeaway.
It's all about Drew Aller.
Not saying I believe it, just saying.
It's all about Drew Aller, right? Like if Drew Aller is going to be the guy, that then Penn State can get that done. And look, he showed some growth last year. He had some huge drives. I remember watching one against USC, I believe it was, when Penn State had to make that long flight across the country over to California. And he had a big time drive in a close game against USC, I believe it was. And there was a couple other big moments throughout the regular season. But then Penn State gets the ultimate path in the postseason where they don't really have to play anyone to make the semifinals until they run into Notre Dame. And Drew Aller wasn't great that game. Like you could say the Penn State loss in large part because of Drew Aller. He only had one pick, but it was kind of a costly pick in that Notre Dame game where Penn State competed, but I believe the final score was 27-24 Notre Dame in that semifinal game. And of course, Notre Dame goes to the championship, ends up losing to Ohio State. But that would have been the big moment for Penn State and Drew Aller. So I think Penn State's defense is going to be incredible. I think they have the weapons for it, even though they obviously lose. They lose their big tight end. But Drew Aller, it's all going to come on Drew Aller's shoulders. Can he be the guy? Can he make big time throws in big time moments? And we're going to find out because they should be a college football playoff team. The question is, can they really win the national title?
There's one game on their schedule. If you want to get with Oregon, that's fine too, but that's being played in Happy Valley. There's 2 games. It's Ohio State.
Wait, what about Villanova? Villanova's got to be one of those games.
There you go. Nice work by you. Villanova and Penn State, September 13th, out there at Happy Valley. Let's go. Can't wait. Catch the action right here on The Gambler, home of Villanova football and basketball. You never know. They might keep it close. Anyways, it is on September 13th. But yes, Oregon, they have a week off and then play Oregon, the Ducks, on the 27th. And then they play Ohio State on November 1st. But no Michigan. You look down the list, UCLA, Northwest, like there is a lot of winnable games here, including the first 3 that they opened up with, as you pointed out, with Villanova, but they opened up with Nevada, August 30th, FIU, September 6th, and then Villanova, September 13th. So nice, easy break in, get everything going, and then you get Oregon at the end of the month on September 27th. Yeah, it's hard not to buy into the Penn State hype.
So is that a big game James game? Because I think Ohio State might be the only big game James game on this schedule until the playoffs.
Correct, because it's on the road. It's in Ohio State. And it's like, show me. You never beat Ohio State, especially there. Show me.
Champs,
show me that you can go into Ohio State and beat them. But we'll see, man. College football right around the corner, of course. We are all over it for you right here on The Gambler, including everything else. Summer League. We hit on PGA. You got to play in the home run derby tonight?
Yeah, James Wood.
Oh, you're going James Wood. What's his number?
I got a plus 1,600. I saw it's down to plus 400, or excuse me, plus 600. I saw it's down to plus 400 now.
Yeah, 4-1 on DraftKings. Money coming in on Mr. Wood. Of course, he's been smashing it for the Nationals, and I believe he had the longest distance as far as wagering is concerned, as far as longest home run tonight. So watch out for him being able to do that. But I'm going to roll with O'Neal Cruz at plus 340. So good luck to you, Sam. Great stuff as always, sir. Appreciate you hopping up on here. We'll be doing it again on Thursday, back in studio.
Yes, sir.
Rock and roll, my man. Sam, we can find you on all things socials at SOSHTRY. Read them at The Score. Always a pleasure, sir. Great to have you on.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
My man, there he is, Sam Oshtry, once again on the Gambler stream. All right, a couple odds and ends before we get out of here. First and foremost, I was down the shore. Yeah, I had some fun down there, no doubt about it. But, we needed a little sweet treat. We need a little ice cream, a little Italian ice, if I may. And we ended up having Rita's. Yes, Rita's for the family. Ended up taking the to-go containers, put it in the cooler, brought it down there because I knew that we would definitely want it after a hot day on the beach. And I'll tell you what, it delivered, and then some. The Rocket Pop ice that they have going on right now, I just went with the frozen lemonade, took down 1 container of that, had the Rocket Pop ice on the side as well for the kids. They loved it. But do yourself a favor, check out where Rita's location is near you online at ritazice.com. And, by the way, the rewards, make sure you are a Rita's member. Just download the Rita's Ice app, and you get hooked up, man. There's some serious rewards, the Ice app perks. Once again, ritazice.com for everything you need to know, and find a location near you. And it's a perfect treat to have. I wanted to go into that cooler on my way down the AC Expressway. I really just wanted to dip into some of that. So good. Can't beat it. And I was definitely the cool uncle pulling out the Ritas out of the cooler. All right. Good stuff there, and had a blast down the shore. It's good to be back. We'll be rocking and rolling this week. Football discussion rolls on. It all starts today. We will be doing summer school. Again, Tansy, Mark Henry Jr., myself, Sam, Bernard's going to be getting involved. Of course, Ryan Beef Coyle and Nick McClay all over at Beef Up Front. We're going to be recording on Wednesday. We're starting with our SEC and Big Ten. It's hard not to start there, right? Those are the 2 major conferences. Media days are rolling on. Last week we had the Big 12. Today we had the SEC. A lot of Vanderbilt love. My goodness, Pavia is the quarterback down there. He's got a lot of attention. I know that they had a great run last year, and he was able to get the job done. I believe New Mexico he was at before that. They went to Auburn, beat them. Understood. I get it. But, man, a lot of hype about Vanderbilt for a team that kind of snuck up on some people. I just don't think that they're going to be sneaking up on anybody this year. But the SEC is deep. Stop me if you've heard that before. We're going to be hitting on it all this week. It all starts today right here on The Gambler, all things college football. And then slowly but surely, Roy Burton and his college or fantasy rankings will be front and center. So we'll be talking a lot more about the NFL. And we're going to have some fun this year with our future bets when it comes to the NFL. And all I'm going to say is no one's ever rolled out their future picks like how I'm going to roll them out this year on The Gambler. I'm excited, putting some work behind it. It's going to be very, very funny when you do see it on your timeline, and it's going to be something different because nobody cares your plays. Nobody cares about your fantasy team. So what are you doing to stick out a little bit more, to stand out? And I stumbled into something that just is going to be electric. So I can't wait to bring that to you. That'll be later this month, of course, early August. August 7th, is that the Eagles' first preseason game? I think it is. Oh, my goodness. Eagles preseason. Yep, you bet your butt. August 7th against the Cincinnati Bengals, where Joe Burrow will not be playing. I did fire up the Netflix show, QB, trying to get into that a little bit. And I did see that Netflix has a new show on college football as well. And so they're going to be all over football action on Netflix. Great stuff from Sam. Great stuff from Luke Arcaini. Good luck on all those plays again tomorrow. Back at it. Bottom line is this: slow week in the sports world, but that means it opens it up for other things to discuss, such as television shows that are getting canceled. That was funny. I'm friends with Craig Carton's daughter. Was not expecting that one, Sam. Did not know Craig Carton was big in the Margate community. Well, like I said, again, I don't want to pour dirt on anybody, but he was definitely one that would never shy away from taking a shot at somebody. Regardless, his show was canceled, and it was just a bad show. So good on Fox for making that move. Anyways, we will be back all this week. Looking forward to it, and then some. Good luck on all those plays tonight. O'Neal Cruz had a home run for me, sir. Keeping it moving. If you missed it, we talked a little Sixers with Sam earlier today. I want to run that back because the Summer League is front and center, no doubt. But Daryl Morey had some interesting things to say. What will life be like if Joel Embiid goes down again, which is going to happen this season? So are the Sixers prepared? Will there be some sort of difference with the roster? Sam's going to break that one down more for you on the other side. It's Daily Ticket. Back after this. Summertime is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen weekdays from 9 a.m.